Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us for our 8 p.m. Friday night Tropics talk. We're going to go play-by-play, hopefully, with what Hurricane Tammy is doing out there in the extreme western tropical Atlantic. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. I see the chat is already ablaze with comments and conversation. Always good to see the community abuzz and hyped for a Friday night. I can joyfully say that we are officially at 100%. Fully back up and running on all four cylinders. All that nastiness that was in my sinus system has completely evacuated. All that wind shear in my respiratory tract has finally gone down, and we have a much more conducive environment for long-winded live streams and videos. All right. Let's go ahead and say hello to everybody in the chat. I see Sharon, good evening. Zenful, good evening. Carmen, welcome in. Griffin, Daniel, Brian, Jay. I think I saw Miss Leah up there. James, welcome in. Thomas, hello there. Alex, we have a dangerous situation unfolding. Tammy is moving due west and is very near Martinique. I'm going to take a look at that here in a second because I'm looking at the radar, and it looks like it's cooperating. It looks like it's moving north-northwest. We'll have to watch closely, though, and that's exactly what we're going to do here on the live stream tonight. We're going to take a close look at it. What's up, y'all? Hey, David, glad you feel better, man. Pierre, I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you very much. It was you guys who helped me fight that thing off. All your positive energy and all the prayer power out there just helped just rip it completely out of my well-being. So it's perfect. I feel great today. I feel full of life, energized, albeit maybe just, a little on the disappointed side. I don't want to start on a very depressing note, but it has come to my attention that there are a few folks out there who are genuinely, and I mean genuinely, textbook taking the material that I present in my content and essentially ripping it off and putting it onto their channel. And it's starting to get a little frustrating because, at first, maybe you could make the case that we're talking similar weather features, similar environment, and so on and so forth. So, okay, we're talking, along similar lines. But, it was brought to light earlier today that there's definitely more to it than just talking similarities. It's legit almost like a night and day copy-paste, if you will. And that's, it's a little frustrating, especially my being one of the smaller channels, just trying to make his way on YouTube and reach the masses. Going back to what you said, though, where did it go? Alex Baller, I do see what you're talking about. It does seem like at the very tail end of this radar loop, this is an entire Barbados radar GIF of Hurricane Tammy. There goes our eye wall. That was about the time it went and made hurricane status. And yeah, it does look like it's moving more west-northwest right there, headed this way. So we'll have to see. We'll have to continue to watch if it does move more in a northerly fashion as opposed to a westerly fashion. Because right now, that definitely puts a little bit more of a dangerous situation for our Lesser Antilles Islands, our Leeward Islands especially. I wish I could claim copyright, honestly. Is that even a thing on YouTube? I feel like it's all, free reign or free range, however you describe it. I think free range is for, chickens and livestock, but free reign, I thought, but it's frustrating because it's great that in the last 2.5 months, I've seen decent success. I'm not going to say I'm a big weather entity on YouTube, but it's been nice developing my camaraderie with you guys, building my own community with everybody and having fun with the live streams and whatnot. And it's crazy that a small channel is being somewhat mooched off of. It's weird, in my opinion. I would think the small channels would be mooching off of the big channels to try to get to that level, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like this hurricane season the other way around. Instead of El Nino stopping this, we're looking at another hurricane out there, so everything's just all topsy-turvy. I go over there and pull their card like I do everybody on this YouTube. But flag whoever is doing that. YouTube does not take that lightly. Okay, I did not know that. See, it goes to show I'm still fresh to the YouTube scene. I didn't know that. Who is doing this undermining to you, my friend? I'm not going to name anybody or do anything like that. It's just I'm starting to notice a recurring basis. It's unfortunate. And actually, no, Carmen, since you're putting a name in the chat, I'm going to say no. I'm definitely not going to say anybody specifically, but Carmen, I'll say you're wrong in that department. In fact, I do actually enjoy collaborating with him and another channel as well. We do actually great work, and we talk and collaborate amongst each other, and we're very civil and mutual and all that. But yeah, no, where are you? Are you still in the chat? I lost his comment earlier. Let's go to the satellite imagery on this, because it definitely does seem like it's moving a little bit more off at like a, what is that, like a 290, 300 degree direction as opposed to 340, 350, almost north and northwest like they were indicating. Although it is going to get close. That doesn't seem to be out of the ordinary. That doesn't seem to be too abnormal just looking at where my X's are drawn. That is kind of on track with what National Hurricane Center does have predicted. They're thinking it'll be a direct hit right in this general area where that eye wall core is going to come along, and it does look like that eye wall is getting a little more organized as we get towards the very tail end of this radar loop. You can see the stronger thunderstorm activity really wrapping up into that center of circulation. I wish we could zoom in a little bit. Let me go ahead and see if I can maybe adjust my screen resolution, take us in. There we go. I'm not blocking it with my head, am I? All right, so you definitely have a very well-defined center of circulation. It has been gradually strengthening. And I know over the last couple of updates since this morning, we haven't seen any intensity increases, but if you've been watching the central pressure very slowly, which is what we've been highlighting over the last 24 hours, we've been slowly seeing that deepening trend. So I wouldn't be surprised if by 11, if not 2 o'clock this morning, we have an 85-mile-an-hour Cat 1 hurricane up there. It almost looks like it's trying to deepen beyond that, at least based on what radar looks like. The eye is not totally closed off, but that eye wall signature is looking a lot more impressive than even earlier today when it first took on that hurricane characterization. Yeah, you can see it right there. You get a good eye wall going, and then it disappears, rinses, lathers, and repeats, and then there at the very tail end when it pauses there, you can see that eye wall looking brilliant. Let's switch over to our satellite imagery. I still have some stuff here pulled up from my video earlier today. Where are we at? Hurricane Tammy. So yeah, on satellite, it definitely does not look that good. Satellite, it definitely does not look like it's doing very good. We don't have very concentrated convection with it. There really is no, I mean, there's still some decent symmetry. You can see the outflow coming out of the north side. Whoops. You can see the outflow coming out of the north side right in through here, which is good. That's probably what's helped it deepen a little bit. And then we have good outflow towards the backside of it like so. So, I mean, you know, it's breathing. It's breathing more than it was earlier, we'll say, yesterday and even the day before. But, I mean, that center still looks like it has some dry air in there. It looks like there's still maybe just a little bit of something working its way right in through this quadrant, that westernmost quadrant that's drying out not only the thunderstorm activity and helping to prevent a lot of the major Leeward Islands especially, and even the windward to an extent, from seeing a lot of the very intense thunderstorm bursts. I mean, you look at this giant core of convection right there, and if you translate that west, that would be a miserable situation. That's a dangerous situation, which is why, you know, I'm a little astonished that National Hurricane Center has been predicting like 10 to 12 inches of rain with this. It's like, guys, I know it's moving slow, but like, where are you getting these rainfall totals from? Because I get that we're seeing some rainfall out there, but there's nothing really catastrophic on radar right now. I mean, there's some feeder bands working their way through, but even then, it's not like there's anything tremendous going on with it. And I think, again, that's what we have going for us. In fact, you're looking at this radar, you could see that there's definitely dry air rolling right in through here. It's struggling. Like that whole western side of it, and even the due south, immediately from where that eye wall complex is, has a lot of dry air in it. So I don't know. I think gradual intensification is going to be the name of the game here, and it is going to continue to drift off in this general direction as we go through time. I don't, just as I said earlier in my full-length video, I don't think we're going to see it really get fully symmetrical, see it really take on a perfect spherical appearance on satellite or radar, which could be a good thing. We may be blasting the alerts and, you know, hyping the hurricane warnings, and we might dodge most of the bullet here. I'm not saying that our islands to the north are not going to see anything, but at least in terms of what the radar looks like, you know, right now we're in such close proximity to this hurricane, and there's really not a whole lot in terms of feeder banding going on for these islands, which is good. That's a good thing. On satellite, it definitely looks like this island is getting it, though. I don't know which one this is. If someone could help me out right here real quick. This one. I'm not well versed in that. Looks like Guadeloupe, Martinique, Dominica, and those north will have flooding issues. especially once this backside, like this is the same thing that happened with Philippe. Once we get on the backside of it, that's when the flooding is really going to become an issue, because that's when everything is going to start really flowing into that general area, and we're going to see all the inflow, that tail that you can see, that trademark tail-looking appearance right here at the very tail end, no pun intended, of that radar loop. That's when all that's just going to be funneling over the Windward and Leeward Islands. Oh, I'm an idiot. That's Barbados. Moron. I just had the light bulb go off. That's Barbados. Twit. Okay, so Barbados is getting ready to get slammed by some good feeder banding. And then, yeah, honestly, I mean, even to the north, it looks like we're not seeing a whole lot. Dominica just had a little bit of some shower activity roll through there, at least according to this radar. I'm not sure how old this is. Danielle, hey, just got in here. What's your take on 91E? We'll definitely get there. That's Barbados. Thank you very much, Watson. I see that. Yeah, I don't know why that slipped my mind. I've been talking about Barbados and talking to a few people out there. I don't know why all of a sudden I was having a brain fart looking at this this radar imagery. I'm used to seeing it zoomed out and on satellite. So yeah, right now this is what we're dealing with. You know, if it continues to move on its current course, let's go back to the projected window of movement. We're looking at a very, very close graze to, let's go to the interactive map. We'll get closer to it at that. Let me pull the interactive map up. Here we go. This is much better. We can get a very, very close scrutinized look at everything. So yeah, see, they're thinking that the center is going to track just to the east of Guadeloupe. And unfortunately, Antigua and Barbuda could possibly take a direct hit, depending on if it wiggle wobbles at all a little bit further to the west. So we'll definitely have to watch out for that. Will Tobago be getting outer bands? Yes, definitely. As soon as, if it continues, well, not if, when it continues to propagate to the north, and we'll go to the satellite here and we'll talk about it a little bit, but you have that big ball of core energy near the center trying to wrap around the west side, but what's been happening is, if you imagine, this is going to sound silly, but if you're watching me on the video and you imagine my head is the core of the storm, you have all this inflow coming in from the backside like this along its southern, section. Then as it transitions more to the north-northwest, all that is going to translate over top, especially the Windward Islands. So the Windward Islands, even though this center is propagating north, is not going to be entirely out of the danger zone of seeing some very potent feeder band activity. In fact, let's go over to the satellite right now. I don't have satellite pulled up. Let's open it up. We'll go to a larger shot, though. We're not going to fixate on Tammy itself. I want to look at the grand scheme of things. Here we go. So, yeah, you can see that it's still, we're definitely seeing more activity on its north side than we did yesterday. Yesterday, it looked like it had a shaved head for all intents and purposes, but you see all this stuff down in through here? All that trailing, I guess you can say, the tendrils of thunderstorm and feeder band activity. As this moves in this direction, if you translate that over, I'll use a yellow ink pen here, that's just going to move with it, like so. I know that seems weird. I'm trying to extrapolate it forward for you guys. And then all that convective activity that's firing up over northern South America, that's also going to get pulled in its wake as well. So you're going to see an extended period of time of on and off bad weather, on and off shower activity, and then on and off very periods of heavy rain. Both GFS and Canadian calling for a Caribbean storm. Yeah, Fum Chum, we're going to get into that. I didn't want to talk too much about that today in my main video. Need to see upper dynamics. St. Martin should get gale winds. Yeah, no, absolutely. And as it continues to as it continues to deepen that wind field, at least the 30 to 50 mile an hour wind field, the pressure gradient around the storm is going to expand. The hurricane force winds are going to stay in a nice compact pocket, I believe, to the north and the northeast of it. So the further to the east we can get this thing to ride, we'll keep the strongest winds off the coast. We're still going to see some strong winds with it because of how intense that convective activity is, not only in the eye wall, but you can see it firing sporadically around the center. And once you get into those heavier pockets and those taller thunderstorms and that rain's hitting you hard, not only are you going to have those tropical storm conditions, but just the general precip coming down as heavy as it is also going to instigate what we call on here momentum transfer. All the winds in the mid to upper levels are going to be coming down from those storms as well. So it's kind of like a 1-2 punch, if you will. That's why I love to talk about momentum transfer and take a look above the surface at 850 and 700 millibars to see what the winds are doing at that point, because with those high thunderstorms and the rains and the downdrafts within those individual cells coming down like this, you're going to have the horizontal gradient, which is the pressure gradient around the center, mixing in with those winds coming out of the top end of these storms and just, wreaking havoc for all intents and purposes. Also, do you think the wave behind Tammy can do something in the Caribbean? Supernova, that's an excellent question. My house was broken into today and stole all 4. What? Brooke, what? How did that happen? Are you kidding? When did that happen? I mean, don't worry about being late. That's terrible. Supernova 22, very good question. We're going to get there. Like I said, I wanted to skip over that in today's segment because I know this is the pressing issue. We're getting very close to landfall, and we were very close. We were almost right on the money. I had mentioned yesterday by about 3 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, things were going to start going downhill, and I know they started to appear that way for Barbados. With as much as this storm has slowed down, it looks like we kind of hit maybe a little bit late. It was more of like a 5-6 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time when those bands in the cloud cover really started to reach, at least in terms of what I saw on radar and especially satellite imagery. So, I mean, we're close, but either way, at least we have people warned, and I'd rather be a little early as opposed to late, you know what I mean? And at first I was nervous that putting out there a prediction like 3 p.m., batten down the hatches, I was nervous for a little bit, kind of sweating at the collar thinking, oh gosh, what if I'm a little late? What if it does come in a little sooner and this thing does wrap up? But no, we're still right on target. And as a matter of fact, it's 9:16 right now. And if you guys remember, yesterday I was mentioning between 9 p.m. and midnight is when this thing's really going to settle in on that area. So we're doing good. We're definitely doing good in terms of timing. And I honestly, for those of you who are watching, we have 171 viewers in here. I'm very glad that video yesterday, of all videos that I could have made, I'm glad that one yesterday is the one that actually picked up a lot of good traffic. I think we got about 17,500 views, which is excellent. I'm glad, because on top of feeling better and being able to put more energy into it, I definitely went full send into trying to track this thing out and give you guys time and convert it to that general region too. So, and it's panning out. That's all I'm gonna say. Rain picking up in Barbados now. Thankfully, Tammy halted all the rain, so most people are at home. Strange to have a hurricane so close yet feel like a tropical wave effects wise. Yeah, it's because that west side is so dried out. The west side is it's not doing too good. We're not really seeing, I think that dry air is definitely embedded within the core of this system, and it's preventing it from fully taking on a symmetrical look. You come over here to Windy, and I love using windy.com because Windy is actually going to do us a little bit better of a favor than if you just track it using the National Hurricane Center bubble here. Because, I mean, you look at the bubble, and it looks like there's tropical storm winds getting ready to roll right in, as a matter of fact. Like, they're knocking on your door out there in, what is that, Martinique, Dominica, preparing to move into the... Why am I suddenly drawing a blank again, guys? Moving to the Guadeloupe area as well. Thanks be to God, sun wasn't there. 17K in a day. Yes, 17,000 in a day. And I'm very grateful for that because typically on average, I average about maybe 5,000 to 6,000 views. And I mean, I'm not complaining, guys. I mean, thank you for watching. I'll always say that. But if there was one video that I wanted to have just a little bit more influence because of the information I tried to put in there, it was that one. And I'm so happy to see that it trended a little bit. It's not like the highest viewed video on YouTube or anything like that, but for what was packed in there in that 19, 20-minute segment, it was definitely worth trying to push it to get to as many people as possible. That's such a shame. Let me scroll up real quick, Brooke. That's terrible. Seeing lightning in Tobago now. So you rough seas and strong winds. Do you think it's from the storm? I don't think it's from South America because Tobago is far from there. It could be a mixture of the two. It could definitely be a mixture of the two because it looks like on the satellite image. Let me zoom out again. Here we go. It almost looks like it's from the south. It actually does look like it's from propagation off of South America. It could be, influenced and drawn in across your area thanks to that inflow sector of the storm itself, but it almost looks like that's a combination of feeder banding with Tammy as well as just the aggressive thunderstorm activity we had over this portion of South America down there. Good question, though. Very good question. You can honestly see that even right now, looking at the satellite image, the islands are like dodging bullets like the Matrix right now. It's barely just flirting with the edge of the Lesser Antilles. We're definitely going to see impacts closer to midnight for sure, but it's flirting with you guys right now, at least all the main serious activity. Can you look at 2-meter temp anomalies in CONUS? Yes, we'll get there. We'll get there. I definitely wanted to talk more about this heavily, and then we'll roll into some of the other anomalies I'm seeing out there in the tropics. Xboxes can be replaced, but rent is going to be tight. At least I know it to get the kids for Christmas this year. We will bounce back. Amen. I say to that, Brooke, I'm so sorry that happened. Honestly, I can't even imagine. That's never happened in my area. I mean, I've had, local shootings and other things happen in my neighborhood, but it's never personally affected me to that level, and I can only imagine what must be going through your mind and the rest of your family's mind for that matter. But I'm glad it didn't escalate beyond that point. That's still horrible, though. What a shame. Just in time for the holiday season, too. That would piss me off. Pardon me, but that'd make me mad. The other storm trying to form, looking about 100 miles from Mexico since it's so close. Yeah, it's going to use all its power on a little bit. Mexico, most likely. Are you talking about the one that's in the southern Caribbean? May see first storm in South Pacific early in busy season. Can this move west and impact western Florida? I'm sorry I skipped your question, Ramesh. No, I don't think so. I mean, there are some ensembles out there that still want to track it to the west. And that's the one thing I decided to put a little more emphasis on in my video earlier today is we're still seeing some of the models out there try to move it westward, which is very interesting. Let me see. The H-Wharf picks it up and moves it. And that's going to be another thing too, guys. I'm watching closely how strong this system gets once it moves past the Lesser Antilles and the U.S. British Virgin Islands, gets up to the north of Puerto Rico. Because truthfully, I'm starting to notice in a lot of our model data, if this storm does continue to deepen and strengthen as it moves to the north, it's actually going to take what cold air tries to break away from the jet that we've been talking about the last couple days and take it with it. So depending on how strong Tammy can get, if we do see this go Category 2 or greater and start to really pick up speed as it moves up to the north and avoid Bermuda for that matter, because the Icon still wants to hit Bermuda. It takes it to the north and then suddenly washes it west, straight into the Bermuda Island. But Ramesh, to answer your question, I don't think it's going to hit. Oh, you asked Western Florida. Yeah, no, I definitely don't see it being a West Florida issue. If it does try to hike west, it could be a potential hazard. And when I say that, I mean a marine hazard, throwing some rip currents our way towards the east state of Florida or the east coast of Florida, but I don't think it'll be a west coast thing. At that point, that ship has sailed. If it tries to go west from here, it's going to wipe itself out over the greater Antilles. Does this hurricane have a chance to move west to Florida? Gerard asking the same question. I can send you videos from where I am in Antigua when it starts. Yes, please. As a matter of fact, that'd be wonderful. If you want, I can drop my Instagram page down in here as well, so you can send me any kind of video footage and whatnot for verification. That'd be great. Because, guys, like at the end of the day, a lot of folks can read what National Hurricane Center puts out. A lot of folks can read the warnings, but like I mentioned earlier, and I'll keep saying it, we don't want to fixate too heavily on charts and diagrams because with tropical systems, with as consolidated as they are and with as dynamic as they are, the conditions inside of them are always changing. They're always changing. Every second. That's why I try to use things like windy to get a better idea of what on average is happening in the storm versus, for instance, using this where it's just black and white lines drawn on a chart. Because I've definitely seen this plenty of times before, and there have been a lot of times where, say, for like instance, Ian coming through Florida last year, my neck of the woods in Point Siena was definitely supposed to see hurricane force winds according to their wind map, and as it was tracking through, it said 75 plus mile an hour winds were in effect for Point Siena. I would go outside and I'm like, guys, this is barely 40, 50 miles an hour. There's like nothing happening here right now. Like to an extent, when Ian made it that far into Central Florida, despite what NHC had on their charts, and I'm not bashing them. If anyone from National Hurricane Center is in here right now or knows anybody, I'm not saying anything bad about them. This is a great representation and a great tool, and it meshes really well with what you see in live data. But I'm just saying sometimes it can be a little overzealous fixating on those black and white lines, just like following just the track of the center. And, I'm seeing that a lot too, is people will definitely repeat after repeat and say, this is just the center. This is just the center. The storm is this, the storm. And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, you got to remind viewers, if you don't have live data in front of your face, even if the storm does get bigger and track this way, the edges and the symmetries and the different quadrants are going to be of different shapes and sizes. So you still can't just imagine a perfect circle working its way through and everybody's going to get the same influence on either side of the storm. That's just not how it works. If it were that easy, that's the key word. If it were that easy, it would be an easy forecast all the time. We'd have nothing to sweat. Everybody would be miles ahead of these storms before they rolled in. I was at work. My son came home from school and messaged me what he came into. That's terrible. And he had to get in there and look at that too. Wow. Is St. Kitts and Nevis on the circle? I believe so. I believe you're like right on the outside. Yeah, you're right on the outside of the cone. So honestly, you guys, if it maintains its current shape and it continues moving on this north-northwest path, you may not realize a whole lot of the main stuff with this system. And by that, I mean the more consistent high-end tropical storm, low-end hurricane force winds, a lot of the strongest eye wall core convection, as well as a lot of the northeast quadrant, or that right front quadrant thunderstorm activity is going to stay away from you as well. So St. Kitts and Nevis, I would definitely say just keep an eye out. You're right on the outer fringe of that cone. And because this is an east and northward side or bias storm, you have that going for you right now. That's another thing I want to make sure to emphasize to our folks in here. We have 249 active viewers right now. If anyone's watching from out there, remember, the further west this goes, the more likely you are to see impacts. If it continues moving like it is right now, then unfortunately we have Antigua and Barbuda going to get nailed. But at the same time, further to the south and further to the east, or I should say the west, further to the west, you're actually dodging a lot of bullets. You're hitting a matrix right now because it's moving so close to your area. But since it has such a strong east and northeastward bias to its thunderstorm activity, its wind field, most of its more intensive organization, it could come close, but you're still not going to see a whole lot of it until it fully wraps around itself. Rain picking up in Barbados now. Thankfully, Tammy halted. Oh, I saw that earlier. I'm sorry, repeating myself. How long have you been doing weather? I hope to be the same one day because I love weather. Any tips? Pimpin 2033. I've been doing weather professionally for, we'll say, about 11 years now. 11 years. And I was doing it very, very amateurly before joining the military. And, I don't really count that as experience. But from 2012 up until, we'll say, last year, technically, I guess you could say I'm still at it because I'm learning and continuing my education in my degree program right now. But doing it like actually forecasting for people and, assets, bases, infrastructure and all that, I stopped June of last year. That's actually an excellent idea, guys. Let me write that down. Let me see if there's a way we can coordinate that. It might not be tonight, Brooke, if that's okay with you, but I want to do some research, and I'm definitely on board. I have a pen here always, and I don't see it right now. Here it is. I'll be right back. But I definitely want to look at doing some kind of that would be really great, but we lost over $1,500. I know every little bit helps, but I don't know how to contact you privately. Follow each other on social media. Go behind the scenes and provide one another with your social media information or something like that. I know we don't want to spam and start, destroying everyone's inboxes, but let me write this down. GoFundMe. $1,500. Let me do a little bit of research, and hopefully by our Monday Night Live, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that when the weather calms down and we don't have, as aggressive of a situation on our hands. But all right, you go back to some of the models. I'll show you the icon, for example. Let me go switch down over to the Western Atlantic. We'll go lower dynamics. We'll just use the wind field in this case. This is 18Z. I haven't looked at 18Z yet. Yeah, see, 18Z has it slowing down and then trying to hook back to the west as it gets further to the north. And that wind, we start getting a lot of prevailing easterlies on the backside or the south side of this 1026 high pressure that expands across the northern Atlantic. You go back to 12Z, and I thought this was very interesting. You track it through the rest of the loop and see how it suddenly takes a very sharp westward turn as a Cat 2 hurricane and tries to blow right into Bermuda. Not a whole lot of other models are calling for this, but the Icon has done so well with this system that I'm not exactly dismissing it just yet. It's definitely something worth watching. Bermuda, if I have any viewers out there from Bermuda, I know you guys have joined in here before. At least keep one eye open, or at least look over your shoulder, for this lack of better term. Watch what's coming up out of the Caribbean and just make sure that you know that it's there and it's not going to sneak up on you. That is kind to help her. We're going to try. We're definitely going to try. I want to look up how to set that up, or at least try to facilitate it and advertise it. Even if it's just something as small as giving shout-outs on a consecutive basis on my YouTube channel and on Instagram, we'll do our best. That's what we're all here for. We can do it. Set up a Give, Send, Go. Give, Send, Go. I'll write that down, too, because I've only ever heard of GoFundMe. Give, Send, Go. Give, Send, Go. I'm not familiar with Give, Send, Go. I'm definitely familiar, or at least, I've seen it, GoFundMe. I can do some homework over the weekend, especially since I don't have work, and Sunday may be my next potential Sabbath from doing weather content. We'll see. You're already halfway to 5K. You're growing really fast. Lord willing, Daniel, it'd be a glorious day to hit 5,000. That's my next big milestone. We did 1, 2, 3 very quickly, and 5,000 is going to be my next milestone. And then after that, 10,000, if it's in God's plan, we'll see what happens. Right now, we're just working day by day and trying to take it one step at a time, especially with everything else I have going on in the personal realm. It gets difficult. Hype Day Friday. Hi from Barbados. We just upgraded to a flash flood warning. Tia Michelle, that makes a lot of sense. You have that next round of major feeder band activity getting ready to work through there. Excellent job to your local National Weather Service, because, that definitely is going to start moving into that area. You're almost directly due south of the center, and once all that wraparound stuff, you see all that tremendous inflow. You can see it just getting sucked into the storm. You can see it brewing on radar already. You're definitely going to get round after round of aggressive feeder band through there, so that's when the real heavy stuff is going to start popping off. Again, for those of you out there who have access to stuff like this, definitely after this live stream and in between everyone else's videos, because I know YouTube and other social media platforms are ablaze with Hurricane Tammy content, but we can't stay live and around the clock with you guys 24/7, unfortunately. It's just not physically possible. And as much as I would love to, I'm just getting over a bug. I don't want to get sick again and relapse because I'm exhausted from all this. So if you can, keep this sort of material in front of you at all times. When Hurricane Ian was going through, it gets rough, but when Hurricane Ian was rolling through here, I was no kidding. I'd have my phone right next to me, and every other hour I would set a little alarm so this way I can pop into the weather center. I still called it Weather Center Nazario back then just for fun. It wasn't anything YouTube or official or anything like that. I didn't have any social media. I just remember one day I was cracking jokes, and Willow was right here, and it was, I think, 12 or 1 in the morning, and we were watching the radar for Hurricane Ian, and that's when all of a sudden I was like, Willow and I are here in Weather Center Nazario just hanging out watching the storm. But anyways, my point is, if you have a phone, mobile device, an iPad, a tablet, television, a game console, not to try to throw low blows or anything like that, Brooke, please, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, any kind of electronic device that you can pull up visual imagery like satellite radar to just keep an eye out on your local area, it's going to be critical, because like I said earlier, we're to the point now where it's right there. Imminent, really significant impacts for certain people, and you can't really forecast that out at this point. It's a matter of just watching and waiting for it to nail you. Definitely, it's raining at present now, a bit of lightning, but I think we'll feel more around 10 p.m. You're getting close, that's for sure. I know it's 9:33 out there right now. It looks like you have some very weak banding beginning to work its way through there and try to organize, at least where a lot of the drier air is. You're starting to see it mix in with that real dense southern tail. You may even have a few more hours after that, depending on how much that appendage here, it's at the very back end of the loop. And that's the one thing I don't like about this site, is you can't pause it. But there's very weak appendages rolling through that area right now. If they can get going and get more structure to them, like this southern piece here, that's when you'll have to see about tropical storm conditions and the aggressive rotating in those individual cells starting to go down. If you're seeing lightning, that definitely indicates that we're probably seeing some of that dry air and cooler air. Oh, it's 8:33 over. Really? It's 8:33 over there? I thought you guys were an hour ahead. Huh. I thought you guys were an hour ahead Atlantic Standard Time. I guess maybe that's during daylight savings or something like that. Because I know right now, if I'm not mistaken, Arizona, where I was stationed previously, is 3 hours behind Florida, so I figured you guys were an hour ahead. Maybe now we're even in time zones. That's good to know. So maybe that means that my forecast yesterday verified a little bit better since I was forecasting it out in advance and, turns out it was 4 technically. I don't know. Not going to split hairs on that. Met said 1 to 3 inches. Feel it could be more. I definitely think 1 to 3 inches is a good baseline. I think 1 to 3 inches for you guys down there is definitely a very good baseline. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around where National Hurricane Center is getting this whole 10 to 12 inch projection from, because none of our models suggest that we'll get anything more than 6 inches maximum. And we can take a look at that right now as well, since I know rain, and at least for the northern Leeward Islands, that's going to be the main issue outside of the northern islands getting the winds. This is Canadian model. See, I already had all that stuff pulled up so we can look at that later. Actually, you know what? Let's go high res. Let's see what we have on our halves models. This will definitely help us out. Let's go. This doesn't have precip accumulation. What the heck? Are you telling me that the zoomed out version is the only one that has precip accumulation? Or did I just glaze over it? Wow, yeah. How are you going to tell me the zoomed-in version does not have an overlay to look at precip accumulation, so you have to eyeball it from far away with the parent version of it? You see, according to this, all that very, very intense activity stays off to the east of almost everybody, except for maybe Antigua and Barbuda. It looks like you're scraping up into what could possibly be right on the threshold of the 6-inch mark, maybe 7 to 8, depending on if we see a bit of a westward wobble. Then you'll see more of that intense eye wall convection just dump copious amounts of rain on your area. But I mean, for example, looking at this, I know this is one model. This is the most recent Halves A model. Generally speaking, a lot of the Windward Islands are going to stay right between 1 to 2 inches at best. Barbados could definitely see some higher intensity or higher accumulation levels because of your position off to the east of the main Lesser Antilles chain. But then moving further to the north, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, into Guadeloupe, it all looks like you guys stay right around that 1.5 to maybe just under 3-inch mark. So I don't know. We'll definitely have to see what unfolds, because National Hurricane Center is seeing something to where you guys could see triple what the models are showing. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just going worst case scenario just in case because of some of the localized inundation we'll see down in the lower levels of the islands. I don't know, but you say 10 to 12 inches, and that just sounds life-threatening. And from what I'm seeing, I haven't advertised that because nothing tells me in my face that we'll see a foot of rain accumulation out there, but I guess we're in a holding pattern. Like I said, we can't really forecast at this point. It's all right there. I think they are basing that for the very northern Leeward Islands. I mean, that makes sense, but even then, looking very closely out there, Antigua and Barbuda are right on the cusp of those purple and orange colors. And I could see that both of those islands are definitely under the gun for about 6-ish inches of rain, but then the strong stuff, the core there, it's very hard to see because we're zoomed out, but there's a small blip right there. That's just to the east, to where we could be getting into that 10-inch percentile, maybe higher than that. So, I mean, it's really going to be a matter of where the center tracks. If the center does shift west, then yeah, the rain chances are going to go through the roof, because you can see where that eye wall and that core convection is. We have a very thin channel of the 10-inch rainfall. If you follow it out right now with what the projected window of movement is, all that should definitely, I'll use green for the sake of it, all that is going to stay right out. Come on, pen. All that's going to stay out right over here. So you track it through, and you're barely going to miss where all that core convection is. You'll definitely see good inundation right in through here where that eye wall is. But in terms of the heaviest stuff, it's going to be right in through here. If you just extrapolate it forward with what you're seeing on radar. We'll reference the radar right now. So yeah, you can see right through there, right in through here where all that really organized convection is. I know I just lost it, but right through there is where you're going to have your 8, maybe 10, approaching 12 inches of rain, we'll say, depending on how slow or how fast this thing moves, especially right around that eye wall, which is a good thing because, again, you look at where the center is, you still have about 20 to 50 miles to where that appendage of rainfall, that core activity is. So again, unless there's a marked shift to the west, all that really, really severe stuff should stay off to the east until we get along the backside of it. I have really good friends in Barbados. We're definitely hoping that they're hunkered down. We're definitely hoping that they are batting down the hatches and they didn't waste any time. We've had a number of days to get ahead of this. So, and it's here now. It's definitely here. It's right now. It's literally knocking on your door, especially for you guys out there in Barbados. It's definitely right there, getting ready to walk in on your doorstep. We going to get full effect of it. Where are you, Kathy? No. Oh, Antigua. You're going to get very close. Right now, it has it passing right in between Antigua and Barbuda, and it looks like Antigua is going to be right inside that right front quadrant. So, yeah, you guys, depending on how much of an east-west fetch it has, it's probably Antigua is going to be the one spot that I'm really concerned about. Really concerned about. I've definitely been seeing that too, Gerard. It does look like it's slowing down, but truthfully, all of our models are in agreement that it's not really going to slow down until it gets north of that area. Even you watch on the halves model as well, you can see it still moves at its same general speed until just to the north of that 20-degree latitude line. That's when it starts to see that. That's when it starts butting up against that high pressure coming down, and you could even see in the precip values right in through here. That's where our frontal system, that's where the leading edge of that polar air coming off of Conus is, and that's what's going to help to slow it down. That's when it'll slow itself down, but I think as of right now, it's going to continue to move at its current pace. I don't see why it would slow down anymore, especially with that massive nor'easter system getting ready to pick it up. We'll switch over to that satellite loop as well so you guys get a big picture idea of what it is we're talking about. Atlantic, we'll go to Atlantic East Pac, even though I know this isn't as zoomed in as I would want to. Or no, you know what? Let me clear the ink. I know which website we can go to. Let me switch over there real quick. Morning Metcon. We'll go to COD Satellite and Radar. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, you can see there's a deep trough right over top central and western Conus. That's what's helping to pick her up. Because here's our ridge right here. And honestly, this is why I love water vapor so much. A lot of people I've noticed, they don't rely on water vapor enough. And honestly, this is one of the best tools. Like if you have nothing else, and I say this with all genuineness, if my mentor, Mr. Shane Castle, is in here, I know he'll back me up on this. If you have nothing else at your disposal but a water vapor satellite imagery, you're good to go. Because water vapor is going to show you the ins and outs of what's happening in the atmosphere. Your dry air, your warm air, your cold air. You're going to be able to see your circulations, albeit very small or very large-scale circulations. You'll be able to see large-scale features, high pressures, low pressures, fronts, jet, everything. And don't get me wrong, I know infrared is for detecting temperature specifically, but in this case, if you were to tell me, where's your cold air? I'm going to tell you, well, I see the jet running through central and southern Conus, so all my cold air is right there. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. You can kind of infer the temperatures just based on what you're looking at and where it is that they're in their source regions. So if you honestly just use this water vapor chart, you can see that here's our trough really digging down. Here's our ridge. So it only has one direction to go, and that's right up in through there. So that's definitely where it's going to track. And you got to remember that as this continues to propagate to the east and southeast, this ridge right here is going to try to recede ever so slightly. So if you'd imagine as this moves further and further this way, this is going to allow for that system to evacuate like National Hurricane Center is predicting. So it's very cool that on the water vapor shot, you can actually see the tunnel or the toll road that this thing is going to take as it moves north-northwest. What I'm curious about is to see what the layout of the environment looks like to where the icon wants it to do this and suddenly move west. That's what I'm interested in. Maybe because of this ridge back behind it that's trying to draw Norma in like this, Very interesting, very interesting. Norma should be getting ready to weaken, by the way, too. Norma looks very impressive out there. And you see what I mean, guys, about symmetry? Symmetry makes a whole lot of difference. Because you see how Norma, I could draw almost a perfect circle around her? Whereas with Tammy, the center's here, and you're kind of looking at it like this. You see how much of a bias we have on the east side? Whereas with Norma, perfect example, I mean, there's a little bit of bias to the west side of it, but all in all, we have that ball, that saw blade appearance. Cue the Saw franchise soundtrack, but you have that saw blade appearance there, whereas Tammy is definitely a lot more of an east side storm, which is a good thing, especially given the orientation of that island chain. Haya, it is still calm in Guadalupe. I think it will reach us by 12 p.m. or over. Yes, we're definitely watching as you guys get closer and closer. By the time it hits midnight out there, the worst is going to start settling in for the likes of Martinique and Dominica, I would think. If it transitions a little bit further to the west, then St. Lucia could see some more. Barbados, you're getting right on the cusp of seeing the worst of it now, and it'll prolong itself throughout the night tonight. Yes, I agree with the water vapor is so well Yes, exactly. I love looking at water vapor. I'll go to water vapor first. A lot of people tend to rely on like that dry air chart. This thing, I'll show you. Where is it? I know I have it on here. This. A lot of people rely on this whenever it loads. Let's see if it decides to load up for us. In the meantime, I'll answer questions. Water vapor is a great tool. Exactly, I agree. PM. What village you from in Antigua? Water vapor is the worst. Sorry, guys. Are you kidding me, Daniel? Water vapor is amazing. For me, it would be water vapor, visible satellite, and then infrared. Because honestly, I mean, infrared is good, more so overnight. Because I mean, if you're looking for your really tall thunderstorms, all you have to look for is your cirrus blow-off or your overshooting tops on visible satellite. And on visible satellite, you get a really good breakdown of the low levels all the way to the upper levels. Whereas because you're only looking at temperature on infrared satellite, you're only going to see, the cold cloud tops, and everything else below the cold cloud tops is going to kind of wash out. Of course, this isn't working. But I've noticed a lot of people like to use the dry air chart. I would rather use water vapor first. Because as a matter of fact, looking at this mid-level water vapor, you can already see that we still do have some dry air to the north, and there is actually some dry air in the eastern Caribbean that's probably getting funneled into the storm as we speak, preventing that western side of the eye wall and the western flank of the whole storm itself from really deepening down and allowing this thing to rapidly intensify. Because that's the thing, too. If you look at it from physics standpoint, when you have more of that energy, more of that mass and momentum spinning around the storm, and it's perfectly organized and rotating in a perfect circle like Norma is out in the Eastern Pacific, that's also what helps to really spin that center of circulation and deepen it down into a major storm. Because the more thunderstorms you have, the more exchange of latent heat you have going on all quadrants of the storm, just further intensifying that eye itself. So the less thunderstorm activity around all sides of the storm is a good thing as well. Gradual intensification or just kind of maintaining its strength. So, I mean, we do still have some things working for us. The Saharan air layer charts are great too. Yes, they are. They're definitely great, especially when we have a lot of dry, dusty air out there for sure. But I like to bounce back and forth from water vapor to the dry air chart. I'm not kidding. I will never use water vapor. Well, I mean, to each their own. A lot of people, they don't like water vapor, for their own purposes. Like I said, for me, if I had to rank them, I'd go water vapor, visible satellite, and then infrared. Infrared if I'm really just trying to investigate temperatures. But water vapor, when I'm looking for big scale features all the way down to the small scale, I'm going to start with water vapor to identify the atmosphere, identify the layout, and then go to visible satellite during the daytime or that high-res long-wave IR to see what our individual micro-scale features look like. That's how I would forecast. I'm seeing a little bit of panic and going, Kathy, if you're not from the east, Antigua, you should be fine. Antigua is quite calm as well at the moment. No storm in Florida, but next front will be late October to early November. Yes, can we see the other systems in Atlantic? We'll definitely get there. I'm not afraid. I'm staying home. Yes, that's definitely what you should do. Antigua and Barbuda are going to be the main areas we need to watch out for. You guys should be in place, sheltered in place, have any kind of flood preparations wrapped up and complete because this storm is within your area between the next 6 hours or so, give or take. Can it move away from the country a little? It definitely can. Coco, I lost your messages. Where are you out of? I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to backdate if you said earlier where you're in. Are you in Antigua or Barbuda by chance? Water vapor is the best. Carl, I agree. Yeah, definitely ride with water vapor. Yes, sir, Brian. Kathy, I'm praying for that so hard. Thank you, Jackson. PM, you and Nazario need to collaborate. That'd be good, actually. I would like that. Tammy is a slow-moving phenomenon. I'm located in the east part of Guada on the Atlantic Ocean. The town is called Lemuel. Actually, I'm sorry if I'm misspelling that. If your island isn't being mentioned, it's fair to say you're not in any immediate danger. Laron, I mean, yeah, to broad brush, that is true. Antigua, okay, so that makes sense. Don't panic. Don't panic. This isn't like a cataclysmic storm, okay? If you want me to be very blunt with you, it is going to get sporty. Depending on where that eye wall tracks, you're going to see hurricane force winds. It's going to happen regardless. You're going to be not only on the dirty side of the system, but you're going to be in that right front quadrant if that storm track holds true. If it wobbles a little further to the west, you're going to be just outside the strongest storm winds. You're still going to see a lot of intense thunderstorm activity, so that's not really going to let up a whole lot, but that eye wall, that thin eye wall, is not going to be as relentless if it wanders a little further to the west. If it stays on its current course right now, though, if it follows that line to a T, which, I mean, they never usually do, it looks almost like a Geiger counter. When you watch, if you were to watch the actual track and document it to the pixel, the tracks of these systems always look like this, like so. They're never going to be straight, perfect lines. You know, it's just not how it works. So you could have a wobble this way just in time. You could have a wobble this way, unfortunately, just in time. Like, the whole point in a nutshell, though, is Antigua and Barbuda, especially Antigua, you got to make sure you are sheltered in place. Do not take any chances. That may sound like fear-mongering, but I'm being genuine with this. This isn't Tropical Storm Philippe. This is not a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm. This is definitely a hurricane with a defined eye wall. And the eye wall is where things get very fierce. It's a very tiny area that it encompasses, but with the way the track has it set up right now, you guys are going to see it. So that's the big thing. Norder Reed, I live in Antigua. Yes, Antigua, that's the big one at the top of the list. Antigua is the one that's forecasted right now to get the eye wall of this storm. It's at 75-mile-an-hour winds right now. Based on what I'm seeing on radar, it's probably not going to weaken, unfortunately. We could see the intensity bump back up by the time we get to our 11 p.m. advisory, and maybe even a little bit further than that. Let me see what the National Hurricane Center is projecting. It should be just to your southwest by 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard. Wait, really? 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time tomorrow? No, that can't. Wait, that can't be right. 2 a.m. October 22nd. What? They really slowed this storm down big time. So okay, so let's track this out. Let's go back to our. You go to mean sea level pressure and. So let's see. This is about, where are we right now? This is 0Z, right? Okay, so we're at 052 Zulu currently. So this is kind of where we're at. There's 3Z. So 3Z is going to be, since I know you guys are in the same time frame as us now, 3Z is going to be what, 11 p.m.? 11 p.m. Then there's 6 Zulu. 6 Zulu is going to be 2 a.m. There's 6 a.m. No, 8 a.m. That's 12Z, so there's 8 a.m. So yeah, it is going to move slowly. Okay, so you're definitely going to see the worst of it much closer to, this is 18Z now, so that's going to be 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is when it could be settling in on your area. So yeah, National Hurricane Center is going immediately off their hurricane models right now. I think Tammy shifted a bit closer to the island's coastline. Praying for it to go further to the west then, thanks. You want it to go to the east. You want it to stay east. If it goes west, then you're still going to get that dirty side of it. The thing that I'm focusing on right now is keeping you out of that right front quadrant. So if anything, you guys need to try to like blow on it and make it go just a hair's worth to the east to keep you out of all that significant convection. Because if you get the eye wall, you're going to get a mixture of thunderstorms and heavy winds. If you get just the front side of it, the dirty side of it, as a lot of us like to call it, you're still going to see hurricane force winds and you're going to see a lot of rainfall. So, supernova, yeah, I agree. I should realize that. I've been tracking it out as much as I have over the last several days. 7 miles an hour is, yeah, that's like bracing for landfall in the West Carib and in the Gulf of Mexico. You're absolutely right. Prepare and pray. Slower gives it a chance to get stronger. Yes, it does, if it can get itself together. Because, I mean, again, you look at satellite, and it's not like it's really, as everyone would say, rapidly intensifying. You can see all that dry air really intruding in on it. I don't know why my pen is so small. You can definitely see that there is some really good dry air. I'll pause it right here. Dang it, come on, grab it. There we go. You can see that we do have some factors playing with us. You still have dry air wrapping around like this, and you can definitely see it's infiltrating the system. So that's why a lot of the thunderstorm activity is going to be off to the east side like so. A lot of it is going to be down in through there. Almost looks like Imperfect Cell, if you guys have ever seen Dragon Ball Z. So yeah, I mean, it's trying its best to get its act together, but it's a very slow process. Let me refresh this, see if we can get some new radar data. I need a drink of water. Looking like 2 p.m. mid-afternoon tomorrow. Thanks listening from Antigua. Samantha, very welcome. Oh, east then. Yes, definitely east. Because again, now that we're on radar, you guys are just off the screen. I'll go ahead and illustrate. Let's say that we have Barbuda right in through here, and then Antigua right about, I don't know if you guys can see that. No, you can't see that. Let's go ahead. I know this isn't exactly where they are geographically, but let's say Barbuda is here and Antigua is right there. If you track it forward and you follow where the center is, in fact, the center looks like it just collapsed. The center looks like it's either going through a very mini eye wall replacement cycle or I don't know. But watch this. Watch closely at the there's our really, really narrow eye wall, which makes it a little bit more aggressive. But watch at the end there. See that? You see how it suddenly gets big? We just had an eye wall collapse. I don't know if that's an eye wall replacement cycle going on. This is a very weak storm, or if the dry air is getting a hand of it or getting a hold of it. I want to say it's the dry air. I don't think we're going through an eye wall replacement cycle, but that eye just collapsed on itself. So that could be a good sign too. This is why I definitely want to watch, live data. This is why we have to be watching the live data. I wish I could pause this radar, but if you guys watch closely, I'll try to zoom in a little bit more. Let me get real up close and dirty here, real up close and personal to the storm center. There it is. And you watch, there's our really concise, see that? It's a tiny eye wall. That's a much more aggressive eye wall, but then watch as it tries to form back up. You see that? How it just caves in on itself? That could be a good sign. I don't think with as weak of a storm and as disorganized as it is, it's not going to be an eye wall replacement cycle. I think that's that dry air really, literally in a, like Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield fight with it right now, and it just bit him in the ear, or bit her in the ear. So that's a good thing. It's not going to continue to intensify very rapidly. This is why I love satellite and radar to watch these things up close, because you can see the evolution of it. That dry air is doing its thing, and it's trying to keep it weak. You could even see it trying to infiltrate some of that more eastern quadrant thunderstorm activity. It's like chewing right through the core of the storm. Right in through, let me try to draw it. Once we get to the very tail end of the loop, I'll try to draw it quick. Eye wall collapses right in through there. You see all that dry air intrusion to it, and that's not a good thing for the life support of this system. Let me go ahead and zoom out now so we're not extreme close-up on this thing. Looks pretty close to Martinique. Yeah, it's definitely getting closer for sure, but a lot of the significant stuff is still off to the east. It's approaching 9 p.m. right now, and this was about the time between 9 and midnight is when things are really going to go from like this, just straight down. Can we look at the storm in the Caribbean? We will in a second. We will in a moment, I promise. Oh, shoot, it's already 8:57. I just realized. Eye wall collapse. Only on Weather Nazario will you hear that. Yeah, I live in Antigua, and currently things looking calm and nice. Also, happy Friday, chat. Cheers. Hope all of you are well. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for tuning in. Can we look at the storm? All right, you know what? Yeah, we'll go ahead and look at the Caribbean stuff now. Philippe was going northwest, then when it got to us, it went southwest, and then back to the northwest. Yeah, Tia Michelle, well, actually, through its entire life cycle, Philippe did do what it was supposed to do. The weird thing is we had so many different we had building thunderstorms and then a rapid falling of those storms, and they created so much outflow boundary and whatnot. it had so much outflow with them that the storms were just propagating in all sorts of directions. So it looked like the storm itself was moving southwest, north, southwest, but it was a lot of the different weird thunderstorm activity we had going on, and the center itself was still tracking where it was supposed to, but because of the different outflow boundaries and little cold pools being created by the thunderstorms lifting up and then suddenly crashing down, it was creating all sorts of different little individual patterns in the thunderstorms, pushing west, pushing south, pushing southwest. So I don't think that's going to be the case here. We have a bit of a stronger storm here. We're not going to see the thunderstorms going in all sorts of different directions. They should stay fairly consolidated. 100% dry air. That's for certain. We need to give the Father thanks and praise and to guide us and to protect us in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen, I say to that. At the end of the day, we can talk and forecast and do all that, but he's the one who has the main say. He's the one doing all this right now. So, we'll see. Sorry my phone died. Missed the last 30 minutes. That's okay, James Life. No worries. Thanks for coming back. Thank God for the dry air. It's amazing how nature has a way to defend itself. The dry air fights the storm. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it sounds goofy, but that's literally what's happening right now. They're fighting tooth and nail. The storm wants to get stronger. You can definitely tell it's trying. But that dry air is just, it's doing its thing. It's kind of like an infection, if you want to look at it that way. If it makes sense in your mind, it's kind of like, for example, the common cold attacking the immune system. You got your white blood cells going to work trying to fend off the infection, and that's kind of what's going on right now. You have the thunderstorms trying to fend off that dry air and saturate the entire column of this storm, and it's a current duel. Brooke, I just saw a message from you. Sorry, I glazed over it because I'm explaining, not to take away from the forecast, which you're doing great with, but I set up a GoFundMe. It's titled Recovering from Home Burglary by Brooke Ward. Amen, I say to that. Okay, very good, Brooke. Let me write that down as well. I'll write that down so this way I can keep tabs on it and see if I can put in any kind of lump sum as I can. It's titled Recovering from Home Burglary. Recovering from Home Burglary, Brooke. Very good. All right, we're definitely going over time tonight, guys. So fasten your seatbelts, and I'm glad it's my Friday night. I don't have to be up early tomorrow. Let's go ahead and shift gears. I'm going to say it preemptively right now, guys. If you have any additional questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section of this video or my main video. What time are you going to be live tomorrow? Kathy, I will not be going live tomorrow. I can try to go live if things are just that bad out there. For our Lesser Antilles, I can definitely go live if you guys really want me. As a matter of fact, I don't think I have too much planned for tomorrow. I have a family outing mid-afternoon, but I don't think my evening is going to be encompassed by very much. So if you guys want me to try to schedule a live tomorrow, type 1 in the chat and I'll see what I can do. You're going to get a full Weather Center segment regardless, so I'm going to update you guys, but I won't be doing a live stream. But if you want me to try to facilitate a live tomorrow, please type 1 in the chat, please, and I'll look back here in a second. Let's go out to the future. Let's go into the future a little bit. We'll go parameter. Let's go to Euro ensembles, the probability charts. All right, so this is where we are right now. That's 3 days from now. Here's 4 days. That's Tammy working its way out there. Then this is our other little disturbance. I think it's still 10-20% highlighted by National Hurricane Center. Not a whole lot's going to come of that. But then as you go 5, 6, and then 7 days out, we get another round of probabilities popping up in the Central Caribbean. And then you also see those tropical waves beginning to propagate through. And you actually do get to about 30-35% favorability as a 12 Zulu today that we could maybe see something pop up out there. And the Canadian model has been doing a good job once again of highlighting that. Let's go ahead and let's zoom out. We'll go Western Caribbean. We'll go mean sea level pressure. So there goes Tammy. Tammy's still working her way through. Not expected to. This model's already behind, though. This model's already behind in terms of its intensity. And as you go through the mid to latter parts of the run, here come our tropical waves. They deepen down, and then there it is. You get another system moving through that same general area in place of that original system that we were talking. Oh, there we go. Let's see. So we have 1, 1, 1. I do. DJ Flip the Boss. Big up yourself, my boy. Stay good. Stay put. 1, Carmen, thank you, because if you hadn't said anything, I wouldn't even thought about it. Thank you, Nazar, as well, for saying GoFundMe. Yeah, no, there's a lot of different resources out there, and regardless, I was going to shout you out and see if we can get some folks in here trying to at least send some positive support to you and try to give you guys as much of, that positive prayer energy as possible to get you back on your feet. Because, dang, that couldn't have come at a more inopportune time. Tia Michelle, Robert 11, Ty Jip, I don't know how to say that name. Ty JYP1, we love the future one. Big up, Michael, stay safe. One, but if your views are down, it's because we have no electricity. Oh, that's okay. I mean, God forbid. I'll take the views down as long as you guys are safe. Please do a live stream tomorrow. True that Florida has to watch for sneaky Thanksgiving storms. Yeah, I love your live chats. Gerard, thank you. St. Martin, getting it. Oh, thank you. I'll find you there tomorrow. Yes, Brother Flip, you know already that is. Much appreciated for the stream. Absolutely, guys. How does Jamaica stand in all this? So, I mean, Jamaica's doing pretty good right now. A lot of us out there in the Caribbean are doing solid. It's unfortunately the Lesser Antilles that have been having to struggle with all these storms that want to come close and then dart out to sea. It's like they come in and just give us a little touch and then disappear. There's nothing that's been just barreling through. This has been on here for the last couple of model runs now. I think it was starting to show itself on 0Z. Yeah, on 0Z it was there, but it really quickly dissipates because of that cold pocket. And then at 12Z yesterday, it was definitely on there. 12Z yesterday, there it is. 0Z, it was a little bit further to the north, but it's there moving through Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. And then today at 12 Zulu, we have it back on there once again. And I'm pretty sure that the Canadian ensembles are flying off the chart trying to highlight something going through there. Yeah, that's also interesting because we have that disturbance highlighted, and I know National Hurricane Center, a lot of our other models want to track it through Central America, but our ensembles still want to take it into the Caribbean. So, I mean, I'm going to watch that from a distance. I'm not really going to advertise too much unless I do see trends to the north, but then here comes that next system moving through. You can see it developing, deepening down, and then doing something. It kind of just breaks into a bunch of pieces. We have our 18Z ensembles in for GFS now. We can take a look at those. I know that at the end of the stream, those usually populate. So let's see what we got. There go our Tammy ensembles. And yeah, see, look at how even the GFS now is on board with it. Suddenly taking a westward track. Look at that. There's one ensemble that puts it right into the Space Coast of Florida. You see that? Takes Tammy like this. Whoop. Highly improbable. Highly improbable. But, that's... we weren't in the bullseye before, but very, very highly improbable. What I want to know, though, is why are all of our ensembles trending west like that? What is it that's going to change the pattern and move it westward like that? At least according to the GFS ensembles. And then as you go forward in time, there goes something else coming out of the Caribbean and moving in all sorts of different directions. You have the one wave out there in the Atlantic deepening down, and then you have something else in the Caribbean trying to deepen down and come towards Florida. So, I mean, I don't know. It's anybody's best guess. Let me go to... I saw someone ask for the Euro ensembles. Let's go back to 12 Zulu and see what they show. So here you go. There's Tammy. And look at that. That's so weird. It looks like it runs right into a force field. You guys see that? Boom, right there. And they just diverge and do all sorts of weird stuff. And then even these are trying to move it in all sorts of different directions. Some of them take it west. Others take it back to the north and then skyrocket it. I mean, even the Euro ensembles do suggest that Bermuda is going to have to watch this. The general, 60-70% of agreement is going to keep it right at that 60 west longitude line and then hook it out, trying to be fish storm. This is not a fish storm. But some of them do want to track it towards Bermuda. And then there is some ensemble agreement that something could try to sneak out of the Caribbean. This has been on and off. I don't put a whole lot of faith in that. But, we just had another CPC update come out. They're highlighting favorable environment for it. Our ensembles are still on and off, so it's anybody's best guess. I think even the operational run of the Euro at 12 Zulu today did have a little something trying to sneak in at that same area as, not lightning density, 10-meter wind, the same general area as the Canadian model did. You see, the Euro model has it stalling completely, going stationary, and then disappearing with that cold pocket. You see that? Tammy doesn't even make it away from the Caribbean. She moves to the north, and then into Monday, stalls out entirely, and then just disappears. And then if you look, same general time as the Canadian model, we have that wave moving through right there. And the Euro does try to want to spin something up. So, I don't know. I'm still watching. I'm just not putting a whole lot of energy in it right now. We're still in a holding pattern, just taking a look out there at what's on the horizon. I am in Upper Tampa Bay, and I will go with improbable. Woo, yeah, definitely, Kevin. West and east wind shear plays a big part in Tammy's move. Yes, definitely. Well, that's our Halloween storm, but nah, don't think so. Yeah, I know. As much as it would, be something worth talking about. Well, right now the rain has just begun in the island of Guadeloupe. I believe it, Michael. I definitely believe it. We'll get ready to conclude the stream just looking once again at the radar. I'll zoom out a little bit for you guys. There we go. Get a good broad overview look. We are in a historically unique setup. Oh, very unique, Jacob. I agree. And honestly, it's anybody's best guess. The models have been doing all sorts of things, going this way, and then this way, and then this way. Like, they've been doing all sorts of different things out there, so we're definitely going to have to watch. Do you think a Nicole could form again? For a little bit there, I was thinking it, but Euro has definitely backed off on how strong that cold pool is going to be coming down, so we'll still have to watch. But it looks like our models are transitioning from upper-low cyclone down to maybe even a tropical cyclone. All right, let's see what this is doing. Inez in 66 and George as in 98 are analogs this time of year, man. Even then, conditions are not like they are, folks. Development conditions are beyond the norm season. Yeah, I agree. So actually, you know what? That does look kind of like it was the dry air getting into that, but it did replace itself. We have a bigger eye wall now. Looking at this radar, there's definitely a bigger eye wall. It opened up, and now it's trying to wrap all the way around like that. So that's tough. That's very tough. And it still doesn't seem like it's moving very off to the north. We have it here. We have it here. We have it here, and then it's here. So yeah, I mean, this storm is definitely waiting until the last second to start turning. What does the track say? The track says it should already be moving to the north-northwest, and this radar does not seem like it's doing that just yet. So hopefully here, now that we've crossed this longitude line, it's going to start moving in that direction, because right now this is definitely more of a 290, 300 direction, and that's not good. That's definitely not good. I'm extrapolating that out, yeah. So, I mean, if we keep moving on that current course, it'll do this. I mean, it's got to turn somewhere in this general area. It has to. If it doesn't, that's going to change the entire game. So we're definitely watching this damn thing closely. Pardon my language. I didn't mean to say that, but it's got to turn momentarily. It has to. Computer models versus humans, I agree. It's definitely a models versus humans game right now. Just about out of water. This is why I will definitely say again, for those of you watching in our Lesser Antilles right now, especially the Leeward Islands, you need to have some sort of a radar source up. You got to be watching this. You definitely have to watch the radar closely, because it's radar right now that's showing us the big picture. The center has been doing this. I'll even draw the line with it so we can get a better idea of where it's going. I'll do what the computer usually does and highlight where this storm is going. This is where we are right now. So, I mean, it's moving generally west-northwest. That's about 270 would be due west. That's definitely about a 300-degree angle that it's moving at right now, if you're thinking about it on a clock geometrical scale. So hopefully within the next few hours, it'll really start to go up like this and start moving, because if it goes any further to the west, it's going to definitely change the impacts we see. Yeah, it's definitely still, shucks, it's not moving north yet. It's not moving north. You can see it plain as day on radar. David, can you post your email to help Brooke? We need a fund set up. Yes, let me go ahead and throw that on there. I'll give you my personal email. Zariod. There we go. Positive energy and prayers directed Brooks' way. I am benefiting from myself with surgery recovery. Yes, this hurricane season has been all Atlantic. Praying for those in the islands Definitely, yeah. We definitely have to. It sounds cliche, but we got to bless up right now. We need to use the force and use the energy of prayer and move this thing north. We got to get it going because it's still moving west-northwest. You can see it plain as day on the radar, moving west-northwest. We need it to start shifting. We need it to start shifting now. Definitely need to start shifting. So, but all right, guys, it's 9:15. We're gonna slowly but surely start closing out the stream. Radar is the best when following these storms. Absolutely, it really is, especially this close. Satellite, especially like I said earlier, nothing against the different satellite products. They all work, but with infrared is all we have right now. And if I were to go back over to infrared right here, like, look, you can't really tell what's happening. You can't see the center. It looks very disorganized on satellite imagery. You couldn't tell the difference. So visible satellite and radar are your best friends right now. And here we are. Let's refresh again, see if we get a little bit extra radar data on here. She can contact you. Thanks. Yes, definitely. Brooke, if you took down my email, it's in the chat there. Shoot me an email anytime. I always get back to everybody. Comments or not on Instagram, email now. I'll always get back to people. Definitely. I'll never miss a comment or anything like that. Numbers are growing. I would hope so. I definitely would hope so. That is true. We're at 300 people watching right now. Wow. And this video this live stream already has over 2,000 views. Very good. I missed the radar update. Good night, watching from Barbados. Sherry, good night. If you're tuning out, please be safe. Definitely, please be safe. You know what? If this system keeps tracking westward, it's very easy to say that at this point where they have the watches and the warnings out, we definitely need to be watching. If this thing gets any closer to our islands here, then everybody to the north needs to be in place and just waiting. A lot of the bad stuff is still way out here, thankfully. So, there's still a lot of ground to cover. Even if this center does get closer like this, if you look at the radar, it's still all out this way. Like, if we were to extrapolate it out, let me get all my ink out of the way, and I'll draw the eye on the very last scan of this radar here. So keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There it is. All right, so if you track this out and it keeps propagating in this general fashion, whoops, I didn't mean to draw it so big there. If it continues doing this, you got to remember, and I'll use my yellow ink to show you, that main core is going to do this. It's going to travel up like so, and you're still going to be just on the outside periphery of all the most severe activity. If you do wander through that little pink ring that I drew, that eye wall core, then you're really going to see sizz hit the fan. But a lot of it is still out to the east. So we have to see a huge jog to the west to put the likes of Dominica, Martinique, further to the north, in what is that? That's Guadeloupe. I always forget. Guadeloupe. We have to really see this thing punch west to put a lot of you guys in the most harmful path or the most harmful portion of this storm. So we're sitting here clenched right now. We're definitely clenching. That's for dang certain. Watching it closely because it's definitely still hiking west. Let me go back here. Let me turn the old past track. Oh, it doesn't have past track. Let me refresh. Because I know this interactive map should have past track on here. Of course, it's not working. I'm glad that you can turn this on here. So it looks like if we track it based on this chart here, 8 p.m., we already have things rolling in. We're after 9 o'clock now. Between 9 and midnight is when we're definitely going to start seeing things go downhill up into Guadeloupe at 2 a.m. And then Antigua and Barbuda, as the sun starts coming up, that's when the worst could potentially be approaching your neck of the woods just off to the southeast. This seems a lot more realistic. watching or looking at the timing for the center definitely wasn't going to give us an accurate representation. This makes a lot more sense, and I'm glad I turned this on. Definitely looking like an overnight into the early morning hours event, and then we'll be on the back side by the time the mid-afternoon time of tomorrow rolls in. I'm surprised. Actually, you know what, James? I'm glad you mentioned that. Usually by now we would have gotten a dad joke or something like that. Good call. I just realized that. Georges, sorry, you wonderful. I failed English. It is overcast, a little rain at times. Stay safe. Yes, I am back. Daniel, welcome back. Puerto Rico watching for lots of moisture from outer bands and tail end when it's northeast to us by Sunday. You could definitely see some increased thunderstorm activity, but from the way it's shaping up right now, it doesn't seem like you're going to take a direct hit or see any major direct influence by this storm. Extend the conditions. George and Inez make perfect sense for the low that might enter the Caribbean. It does. I'm going to have to look at that after I get off of here. Watching from St. Lucia, I hate those nighttime hits. Nighttime hits are not the way. They're not good. Pardon my stuttering. They're never fun. I don't like nighttime events, not only because you can't see anything for documentation purposes, but just because you definitely, if you lose power like some of you guys have mentioned already, there's just no seeing in the dark. There's no way to tell what's coming at you if there's floodwaters creeping into your doorstep. I hate those nights. I don't say Guadalupe like that. It's more like Guadalupe. I've been seeing a lot of people saying Guadalupe. And I know it's not Guadalupe. It's Guadalupe. Fruit Loop. I'll start saying it like Guadalop. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not going to do that. Silly jokes at a bad time. All right, let's go back to radar. Let's refresh one last time, and then I'm definitely going to start wrapping up the live stream. I have to. We're pushing an hour and a half now. I'll probably stay on for a few more minutes. Let's see what we got here. So tracking through time. The eye wall definitely enlarged. That's 0.55. We should be getting a new refresh here any moment now, I would think. What do you call a dinosaur fart? Uh-oh, here we go. What do you call a dinosaur fart, James Life? Tell us. Desi Benji, welcome from St. Lucia. Thank you for tuning in. Why you not live for 5 hours? I wish, Evan. I wish I could do live for 5 hours. And Antigua is pronounced Antigua. Is it really, Tia? Antigua. Huh. I never knew that. I've been hearing everybody say Antigua, so that's good to know. Antigua. I'll definitely stand out in that department now. Thank you very much, and courtesy to Tia Michelle. So Guadalupe and Antigua. Good stuff. You learn something new every day. That's awesome. I like that. People butchered Anguilla also as well. So yeah, how do you say Anguilla? Because, you know, my little bit of Hispanic heritage, I feel like Anguilla sounds funny. Maybe that is how you say it. Yes, Antigua. Okay, good. Antigua. Hi, everyone from Bay Mahal in the middle of Guadalupe. Actually, it's calm. Thanks for the info. Waiting. Yes, it definitely will still be calm for a while. I have to memorize all the island names. Yes, Tia is right. Oh, good. Very good to know. Antigua and Barbuda. Very good. Definitely going to write that down. Oh, no. Did I just lose the stream? Where did the stream go? Oh, no. There we go. Okay, I don't know what just happened with my stream. I saw it start lagging out for a second. I hope I'm not running out of bandwidth because this is the longest live stream that I've done. There he is. There's Ethan's. What's Forrest Gump's password? It's Latin Angua, but it's British overseas territory. It's pronounced Anguilla. Angua? I would have said Angua as well because of the two L's, but I don't know. But yes, thank you, Tia. I genuinely appreciate that. Always learn something new every day. That's what it's all about. Always on a learning curve with everything, weather, and now geography. And from now on out, Antigua and Barbuda. So Antigua is definitely under the realm of seeing some bad stuff. Yeah, it looks like we're on for a serious impact without a brutal northern shift. One Forest, oh my God, yep, Ethan's definitely entered the chat, everybody. One Forest, one. Dang it. At least we can get some dry humor up in here. That's what we got to focus on. All right, I'm going to try to refresh this one more time. If not, then we're taking a step back. Let's see. We're going through time. There we go. We went through the morning hours. Now we're getting to the afternoon. There goes 2 p.m. right there. And there's 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Nope, still hasn't refreshed yet. Oh, well. Is Antigua? No, the first way you said it was correct. I live here. Which one? Guadalupe? Ethan, thank you for the $10 donation. Dad jokes. He. Thank you. Thank you for the dad jokes and the $10 donation, buddy. I always sincerely appreciate that. Whenever this storm is over, we need to keep the same loving energy among ourselves. Yes! Michael Brazil with the clutch comment of the evening, because I can't tell you how often I've seen very, very significant situations happen, and it brings everybody together. It does. It brings everybody together, but then the moment everything's all said and done and everyone goes back to their little bubble, it just disbands everyone. And I definitely agree. Like, going forward, we should have the same type of energy. We should have the same camaraderie. We should develop these relationships now so that way we can carry them through into the future and stay this close-knit when something like this does come down the road. Because, whether it happens the rest of this hurricane season or not, later down the line, we're definitely going to be here again doing the same thing. Whether it's next year or after that, regardless, we're going to see more storms down the road. And God forbid they're even worse than what we're seeing right now. Yes, you can say that proud now. Yeah, I am going to say it proud. That's for sure. Amy is the password. Loving this channel, bro. In Antigua, still calm. See, I said it right that time, and I read it casually. See, I got this. Agree with that? Yes, definitely. I'm in Antigua, so yeah, Antigua is going to be the big one. We're going to have to watch closely how much further to the west this system jogs. And unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to stay on this live for that much longer. So if you have anything out there that you could fixate on in terms of radar especially, do it. 100%. Definitely do it. 100%. St. Kitts and Nevis, it's definitely going to pass to the east of your... Well, I'm not going to say definitely, but it should pass to the east of your location. You should only see residual impacts from that center. If it jogs any further to the west, then you're going to see a lot more impact. And unfortunately, Antigua and Barbuda are going to be right inside that dirty sector of the storm. What do you call a fancy fish? Ethan's life. What do you got? I asked you if it passed Barbados already. It has not passed Barbados just yet. In fact, you still have a lot of your more significant thunderstorm activity working its way in from the south, and it looks like we're getting a new band forming up. So you guys are definitely going to see some rain there for an extended period of time. St. Vincent and the Grenadines are also looking at some feeder band activity as well. And then to the south of that, Grenada is definitely starting to get that feeder band working its way through there as well. It looks like it dissipated and pulled into that new band to your north. St. Lucia has been seeing on and off shower activity. Now definitely in the clear. It looks like a lot of our areas just due west of the center there, Martinique and Dominica, are definitely also seeing some clear weather right now. You guys should be just seeing extensive cloud cover, nothing significant just yet. Although it does look like Dominica has seen some in and out shower activity as well during the earlier phases of the storm. It's pronounced Nevis. Okay, we're going to have a whole lecture going on in here right now. So it's Nevis, St. Kitts and Nevis, not Nevis. I've heard Nevis so many times. St. Kitts and Nevis. So we have St. Kitts and Nevis, Guadeloupe, and then we have Antigua, not Antigua. That's perfect. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. I feel like I just took a whole geography class once again in the Caribbean right now. Let me go ahead and add 3 more college credits to my atmospheric science degree. For Guadeloupe, what do you think? It's going to be a close call, Kenny. Very close call. Definitely going to be a close call for sure. So Barbados could see some rainfall. Absolutely, yeah. You have a squall line getting ready to form up and start driving some precip through that area right now. You can see it at the back end of this radar loop. You see that feeder band getting ready to take shape just over top Barbados. So your guys' rain chances are going to start going up as we speak. St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, and Guadeloupe are definitely going to want to watch this closely. I can't say it enough. Radar, 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 radar. Have it close to you at all times. Definitely have it close to you because I'm going to have to get off of this stream after a certain point. If you talk about Anguilla, don't forget Saint Martin. No, I'm definitely not forgetting about you guys up there. I honestly don't know what else to say at this point, guys. We're getting to the very back end of this live stream. I've never stayed on this long before. We've officially reached about an hour and a half. This is definitely it, though. It's right on your doorstep. You could go outside and say hello to this storm if you wanted to. I hope it's not Cat 2. There's no way. Was it elevated all of a sudden? There's no way. I don't believe it's a Cat 2. If it is, then that's not good. There's no update here. I'm not seeing an intermittent advisory. No. We've only deepened 1 millibar. No intermittent advisory right now, so that's good. It's going to take a lot for it to get Cat 2. I don't think it's going to deepen down that fast. So we have time. We have time to get ahead of it. What about Dominica? If it jogs any further to the west, you will be in the direct path. But right now, it's going to pass to your east. One motor wanted to make landfall as a Cat 4. Yeah. Prayers to all islanders, be safe. Yeah. How can we watch it while sleeping? Dang, nightly storms. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. That's kind of what I was going for earlier. I got sidetracked, but that was the story I was trying to tell you guys with Hurricane Ian last year. I lost a lot of sleep watching that storm, but I was no kidding here in my weather center. I was living in a different house, but no kidding, I had my phone on me, and every hour, not even joking, every hour, I had an alarm set so that way I could close my eyes and wake up, check radar, check everything, and go back to sleep. If I had power, I'd let the alarm go, wake up, check radar, check everything, and then go back to sleep. Unfortunately, that's the thing. With these storms, especially in a situation like this, you're going to lose sleep. You're probably going to want to lose sleep. You'll make up for it on the back end. Is Antigua getting a direct hit from Tammy? Yes. At least right now it looks like it. Right now it definitely looks like it's going to. If the track holds true. We'll see if they update it at 11 o'clock. I'm not going to be live at 11. I do apologize for that, guys. If I didn't have such a long day, if I was doing this full time, I definitely would. That's the thing, guys. That's the main reason I'm working so hard on this channel is not for the notoriety or the fame or anything like that. It's for the passion's wearing my voice down. It's for the experience and to, Lord willing, get back to doing weather full time. Because unfortunately, that's another thing that I have going against me too is I have full-time work, I have full-time college, I have a family, I have other relatives, I have pets, I have so many other obligations that I have to keep tabs on top of just maintaining my personal life, my personal fitness. It's hard. It's hard to really focus in. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there who can spend a lot of time obsessing over this and can spend, what an 8-hour shift for me with work would look like just looking at the weather and forecast. And I wish I could do that. I wish. I miss it. I miss just clocking in, looking at nothing but weather, talking weather, obsessing over weather, having fun, joking about weather. And, unfortunately, I can't. Right now, my days genuinely look like I'm focusing on work and then trying to look at weather, trying to look at homework, look at weather, look at work, look at homework, weather. I'm being pulled in so many different directions. It takes a lot out of my mental capacity. Dominica is Dominica. Heavenly Father, I don't think that we are prepared for all this destruction. Merciful Father, I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Cast it right back to the pit of hell with where it belongs. Michael, I definitely see what you're going, where you're saying with that. Just remember, guys, this is not the worst case scenario. This is not the worst case scenario, and I'm not trying to dispel anybody out there who is taking this serious. No, I'm actually trying to do the opposite and provide what you would consider, I guess you could say, bedside manner. We're in a bad situation. That's 100% true. But at the same time, if you look back into last week, when we were projecting a Category 3 or higher hurricane rolling through there. It could be worse. Right now, we are ahead of the game. We've been projecting this out as far as we can, but, it could be worse. So we just have to brace ourselves, and I'm trying to get you guys through it as best as I can to the best of my ability. I'm starting to see you guys saying you did the same thing for Ian and all that. Yeah, I always do that. Whenever there's a storm coming through, I kind of, as that's kind of where the hype comes from. As a weather enthusiast, I'm not going to lie. Like, one of my things I like to do when I prep for bad weather is I'll, no kidding, go out and make sure that I'm stocked up on caffeine and all other sorts of little things and battery juice and all that whatnot, because I know I'm going to be chugging Bang energy drinks and trying to stay awake as long as I can. Most recently, I started going outside and taking observations during storms and whatnot, trying to report on it. I got waterproof camera equipment and everything. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to use it this year. Take that and do with it as you please. I say unfortunately because I haven't had the chance, but it'll be rough weather like Lee for Canada, but not Irma. No, exactly, PM. Yes. Dominica. Is St. Kitts going to escape the hurricane? It seems to be out of the cone. Right now, it does seem that way. St. Kitts and Nevis are definitely on the very eastern side of it. Doesn't mean you're not going to see effects, but you're definitely going to be on the weaker side of it, especially with the way the wind structuring and the overall internal thunderstorm structure is of this storm. It's very east side loaded, guys. If there's any takeaway from this, the further west it goes, the worse news that is. Ethan's Life. I want to go to that car show. I need to remember to look up information on it, dude. I keep forgetting to tell you the truth. 335 viewers and alive. Wow, congrats. Thank you very much. How close are we? Yeah, this is a good one. We definitely have a lot of people watching, and we're trying to communicate as much information as we can. I'm definitely running out of time, though. I'm going to have to get off here very soon. Dominica. Yes, I was up the whole night for Ian. I don't drink coffee or drinks, just water. See, I should be doing that. I should. But you know what? Bang Energies specifically are, and this is not a sponsorship by them, I wish. Bang Energies are like a guilty pleasure of mine. Maybe it was during my time as a personal trainer I abused it. I definitely abused caffeinated beverages, whether it be pre-workout or energy drinks. So will Dominica be affected? It's definitely looking like a lot of you guys in Leeward Islands are definitely going to be affected. Like, let's put it to you that way. Like, we're definitely going to have influence from this storm regardless. What I'm focusing on is where the strongest weather and the worst of the weather is going to be. Let's try to refresh radar one more time. Let's see if we can get some more data in here. Refresh it one more time. Make sure that it went through. And let's see if we have any updated radar data. Biggest threat is heavy rain and flash flooding, mudslides. Yes, definitely. Unless you're closest to the center of circulation. Okay, we got a little more radar data in. And yeah, it's still not moving north. So it's here. I'm going to track it out with my pen again. I'm going to try to draw it as best as I can, trace out where that center is. So there it goes, 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 and it's there now. So it's still not moving north. It's getting close to that zero barrier point. Barbados, you're definitely going to be in the south side of it very soon. As soon as all this wraparound moisture starts digging in from the south, you're going to see your rain chances go through the roof, and then you're going to be under the gun for rainfall for an extended period of time. In fact, within the next 30 to 45 minutes, if not even sooner than that, Barbados, you're going to be in the worst of it. You're going to start seeing the really bad thunderstorms working its way in. It's right at the cusp, or right at the threshold of being over inland parts of the Barbados Island. You can see it forming up right there. It's just outside of your neck of the woods. That's what's going to be the biggest threat for Barbados and westward as you get into the rest of the Windward Islands. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Who else is down there? Grenada. Definitely you're going to see the south side of it, all that pull-up moisture. That's going to be the big thing. Guadeloupe is powerful. Agree. Yes. Hustle hard. 100%. If they get a hole-in-one, your service experience and expertise land your job with the National Weather Service better would be NHC. I've been talking to, I'm not sure if he's in this stream, but I've been messaging back and forth with a gentleman who has relations with folks in National Hurricane Center. I've been trying to do an internship with them. I've been trying to get in there and at least do a site visit. I'd love that so much. So we'll see. Lord willing, maybe if this channel continues to grow, we'll get a little more eyes on and here, and we can start talking about that. I have a liver condition. It's not major. Just have to be careful what I consume. For a little bit there, I had a very elevated enzyme count in my liver, PM, so I know where you're coming from. Thankfully, it's gone back to normal, but for a while there, it was looking pretty serious. I'm not sure if it was from my caffeine consumption, but I remember for a while there, my enzyme count in my liver was off the charts for a good solid couple of months, and the Air Force was even concerned about it because they were doing lipid panels and all that and blood profiles for me. I forget exactly what the terminology was. You can tell that I'm more of a weather guy, not a medical guy. But for a while, they were very concerned because they were very elevated. Bang, really? I took you for a Red Bull. You know, to tell you the truth, Carmen, Red Bull is like my least favorite energy drink. The only time I ever really indulged in Red Bull was when I was on a cruise not too long ago. They had the tropical Red Bulls for free as part of the drink pass. So I was like, you know what? They don't have Bang. I don't have pre-workouts. I'm going to just hit a Red Bull every now and again. And I'll tell you the truth. I'm not, encouraging it, but Red Bull does mix pretty well with some alcohol beverages. That's for sure. I had some pretty nice tropical drinks on that cruise. Royal Caribbean cruise, as a matter of fact. Which, by the way, guys, I don't think I'm going to make it way out there into the Lesser Antilles, but I'm thinking of planning a Caribbean trip either February or March of early next year. So it'd probably be like a Western Caribbean cruise. Kind of close to the area where Idalia formed. Cozumel, Roatan, and all that general area. Good night. Can you tell us something about St. Martin? Yes. So you guys are going to see the east side of the storm. Report them on YouTube. They can be blocked. Are you talking about the folks earlier who have been like kind of ripping stuff off? But St. Martin, you're definitely going to see the east side of the storm. It's going to be the back side of it that's going to be most lethal to the folks who were on the east side of the storm. No, don't listen to that. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. West side of the storm. Shoot, I just had my compass rose entirely upside down. Strike that entire last statement. Grenada. Okay, Grenada. Tia Michelle, I got to hire you as my personal Lesser Antilles tutor, Tia Michelle. Find me on Instagram. Let's have a conversation so I can get up to speed and become one of the more geographically aware of our Leeward and Windward Islands down there. But yes, for St. Martin, we're definitely going to see the west side of this storm and a lot more of the south side influence. That is for certain. Can you give us some info for St. Lucia? So St. Lucia is definitely going to see a lot more of the impacts from the south side of the storm as well. Again, guys, if you're not from, I would say... trying to think of a good geographical point. I would say, honestly, if this thing does continue off to the west and doesn't start to hook north, then anywhere from Martinique and north is going to have to really brace for the worst of this storm. Anyone south of Martinique and down, or I should say from more south than Martinique, St. Lucia and further south, you're going to have to worry about the backside of it. You're not going to have to worry about taking a direct hit. It's going to be from Martinique and further to the north where you see most of the impacts. Martinique through Dominica up to Guadeloupe, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, all those areas are going to have to watch out for a direct impact. Anyone from St. Lucia and Barbados and further down to your south in the Windward Island region do not have to worry about sustaining a direct hit. At this point in time, that ship has sailed. It's looking like it could definitely be somewhere in between Martinique and Dominica, if not further to the north there, is where that actual center is going to roll its way through. Honestly, yeah, I like it, Margaret. I like it. I used to drink Kickstart by Mountain Dew because it is cheaper, fits my budget. I've seen Kickstart a lot. I used to find the NOS energy drinks that don't have any sugar in them, but those came and went very quickly. I don't see them anymore, so I don't drink them. What about the British Virgin Islands? British and U.S. Virgin Islands are looking pretty good right now. You're definitely going to see wraparound and feeder band thunderstorm activity, but not a direct hit. Definitely not a direct hit, unless this thing decides to deviate from the path entirely. Dark Earth signing out. Have a good evening, man. We'll see you next time, and we'll talk to you very soon. Where are you going, or what island if you're going to an island? Oh, it's going to be like Western Caribbean. Probably like another Curacao, Cozumel, Roatan, Honduras visit. Those are some pretty nice locales. Last time I went on a Western, Southern Caribbean cruise. Very fun stuff, though. Such a good time. For those of you who haven't cruised, Royal Caribbean definitely has my vote. I haven't done very many cruise lines, but Royal Caribbean is definitely a good time. Lana, forgive me if I'm butchering your name, but thank you. Wow, I'm getting goosebumps looking at what you're writing. Father God gave this weatherman a full-time weather job at a place he wants to work. God bless your family. Wow, yeah, that's beautiful right there. I always say, God gave me a gift from early on in life, and I want to do nothing more than just talk weather, communicate the weather, and help people out as much as I can, because you know how, and this is going to be cheesy, going way off topic, but you know how sometimes in life you just naturally gravitate towards something, whatever that may be. It could be any niche. It could be fitness, weather. It could be geography. It could be anything you're passionate about. And you notice how you discover it in a very early age in life, and it just somehow, the level of energy and the level of love and passion you have for it never changes. That's been weather for me. Ever since I was 4 or 5 years old, I've had the exact same level of hype and intensity and energy, maybe even more so now that I know more about it, from an early age all the way through my life. So I tell everybody I meet, and everybody in my family, friends, everybody out there, I'm going to live and die by weather. Like, I will be doing the weather until I'm 6 feet under. And even then, I'm going to be doing the weather for the man himself upstairs. I can promise you that. There's a reason he wired me up to have the level of intensity and love that I do for all things atmospheric science. I don't know what it is. I don't know what about the movie Twister, like, just roped me in, seeing the tornadoes blowing things up and sucking things into the air and cows flying. But ever since then, here we are. Will Bermuda be affected by this storm? Shahid, great question. So we're not talking Bermuda just yet, but we'll definitely want to keep an eye out long range, because after it gets to the north of all of our Antilles, that's when the models get a little woozy for it. Tia Michelle, let me go ahead and drop my Instagram in the chat for you, dear. Weather Center. It's basically the same thing as my YouTube channel, WX Center _Nazario. And for anybody else out there, we have still over 300 viewers out there. Feel free to drop me a line on my Instagram. However much longer I'm awake, I will try to answer questions and comments as best as I can. And first thing in the morning, I'm always up early. I'm always up early for the gym. So I will definitely get back to you guys first thing in the AM too, before the sun comes up. I'll definitely start talking weather with you guys. If you want to reach out in the comments, leave me an Instagram message or drop me a line on Instagram, whatever you guys choose, I'll definitely have your back for sure. I definitely want to, that's something I always try to practice what I preach. If you really want to build a community, if you really want to, talk weather and help people, you got to stay in touch with them. I never want to use the excuse, I have too many subscribers, I have too many followers. Like, no, I'm never going to be that person of, I don't even pay attention to the comments. I don't do this, I don't do that. And I want to stay in touch with as many people as possible. It may be social overload trying to develop relationships with everybody, but I genuinely want, no matter what, and this is going to sound very zealous, very almost cocky, but even if I do somehow get blessed with like 10, 50, 100,000 supporters or 100,000 subscribers, all 100,000 of those people or whoever's on the table, I want to stay personable, one-on-one with everybody, and I can genuinely say that. God is my witness. I want to stay in touch with everybody and try to have that personable and professional relationship with everyone. Professional. I think I said professionable. I meant professional relationship. Let's refresh the radar one more time. I got to go refill my water in a second. I'm losing my voice. All right, we're going through time. Let's see. It's still moving west. Here comes 8 o'clock. There's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We haven't gotten another update yet. I really want to see it move to the north of Dominica and Martinique. If we can get it at least to the north of Martinique, then I know that we're not going to see as bad of impacts as it moves further and further off away from everybody. I wish there was a way I could turn on the past track on that interactive page, though, because I don't think it was supposed to move this far to the west. Because she's still moving west. As of 0120, that's 9:20 p.m. AST, EST, Eastern Standard Time, it's still moving west-northwest. It's almost 10 o'clock. I'm going to refresh again. There has to be a new portion of the radar loop coming out. Are we going to get hit hard in St. Martin? It depends. It really depends. I know that doesn't sound very forgiving or very black and white, but if it continues to wobble to the west, that's going to change impacts dramatically. So that's why even after this live stream, guys, wherever you can, if you can connect to Wi-Fi, get on a radar platform of some sort out there, whether it be this Barbados site or somewhere else in the local area, watch it closely. Because any little subtle jog is going to do something huge in terms of what impacts we see island by island. Everyone has a special gift. You definitely are the best weatherman I've watched. Brooke, I can't thank you enough for saying that. It's very inspiring. My gift is helping very young children and their families. That is a beautiful thing. We need more people like that in the world, especially with everybody else hopped up on all their little social media ongoings and in their little sphere of influence. We need more people out there making the outreach happen. Ethan's life show of watching from the island of Anguilla, and we really appreciate it. Tia, Michelle, I appreciate you guys. I'm in here right now for you. I'm not doing this to talk to myself. I'm having fun trying to keep you guys up to speed on all this. How soon will it hit Dominica? I believe we were looking at I think it was on that chart, between midnight and 2 a.m. is when things are going to start going downhill. Carmen, I've been teaching toddlers for 24 years, and it doesn't fill your pockets, but it fills your heart, and I get to help many families. You know what, Brooke? You just struck a chord. Zenful, I see your comment. Good night, hun. We'll talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for always tuning in. Always a pleasure to have you in the stream. Brooke, there was one time I got sat down during my time in the Air Force, and I'm going into story time mode just to kind of distract everybody from what's happening out there. I got sat down, Saint Martin, not Saint Martin, Saint Martin, okay. I sat down, and one of the senior master sergeants who promoted to chief master sergeant in the weather squadron I was a part of, he did this little NCO one-on-one mentorship meeting with all of us staff and tech sergeants in my squadron. And he actually had a one-on-one conversation with me, and it's funny you bring that up because he told me, what do you want to do after the military? And I told him, sir, I want to get a degree, and I want to do broadcast meteorology. I want to be on television. And he actually legitimately and professionally shot me down. He said, you do realize that there's not a whole lot of money in that, right? Like, there's not a whole lot of success to be had in broadcast meteorology. And I told him, sir, with all due respect, it isn't about the money. If I had to settle for something just because of the money, I would more likely be unhappy because of the fact that I'm settling as opposed to just the fact that I'm making money. I'd rather make modest money and do what I love to where the money isn't even a figment in my imagination versus be so fixated on a dollar sign that everything else in my professional and personal environment is, unhappy. Terrible. It's definitely when you know what you want to do and when you have your heart on your sleeve for that position, that's where you belong. The dollar sign is not even apparent. You don't even see the dollar sign at that point. When I was doing a personal training, I really wasn't paying attention too much to the money. Towards the back end, I'll admit I was, because it was becoming a very high-stress environment. It got to the point where I was falling out of love with it because of a whole bunch of other things, but that's a whole totally different story. This might just cross over Dominica into the Caribbean Sea. Hopefully it doesn't. Thank you very much. You are a good person. God will bless you. Stevens McCauley, thank you. Try my best. And I see you in there, Tia. You're definitely doing great. I'm going to reach back to you on Instagram, I promise, because I definitely want to get up to speed and stop butchering these names. If I'm going to keep reporting on you guys, I want to sound like I actually know what I'm doing. If everybody on this live stream knows that he or she is right with God in the eyes of the present Lord, nobody would be afraid of this storm. On close monitoring mode from Puerto Rico. Good job, yes. What time is it reaching Saint Martin? I believe that's going to also be closer to the 2 a.m. time frame with as slow as it's moving. Exactly. I love what I do, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Amen, I say to that, Brooke. We have found our calling. Winds are strong in Barbados already. Yep, you have that feeder band working its way through right now. It's going to increase your winds. It's very likely you'll see tropical storm conditions with that as well as it moves through, because you could see at the very tail end of this radar, you have a band forming up right over top of you, getting directly fed into the south side of the storm. And you could see just by the radar, the way the storms are propagating, that it's definitely getting pulled in fast. So you're getting really good inflow level wind or inflow style winds along the southern half of this storm. So you could be in tropical storm conditions for quite a little bit of time. No, Gerard, I agree with you. It's not moving north. It's not. I want this radar to refresh faster than this, because I don't want to get off the stream almost until it starts moving north. Because if it doesn't move north, we're going to have to revise every forecast. Like, every forecast is going in the trash because we're going to have to change it on the fly. And that's what I'm afraid of. We still haven't gotten an update. Still haven't gotten an update. All right, I got to take a quick timeout. My throat's getting crazy and my head's starting to hurt. Would Trinidad and Tobago be affected even with feeder bans? Yes, Gervais. It would definitely. Gervais. Again, I'm butchering it. I know Tia can't jump in and save me on that one, or maybe she can. I don't know, but it is still a Category 1. Yes, 75-mile-an-hour winds. Maybe trying to strengthen, but it's definitely still Category 1. I don't think we're going to make Category 2 just yet, especially now that we have a larger eye wall on our hands. Saint Martin, it's looking like between midnight and 2 a.m. for you guys up there is when conditions can start to go downhill. Good night, St. Croix. Good night. Thank you for joining us. Delia Almestica. I'm in Dominica. Looks like it's actually headed right to us on radar. But it's quite calm. Yeah, you're still out there. You're still out there ahead of it. You still have a couple hours before it really starts to bear down on your location. Remember, guys, if you're tuning in late, east and north side loaded storm. It's going to have to take a very close path, if not a direct path over you, to really play a vital role if you're not in the eastern quadrant or the east or south side quadrant of this storm. I'm going to try to refresh one more time. Is Norma still a Cat 4? I believe so. I believe she's still a Cat 4, but she's definitely getting ready to start weakening. Let's see. Let's get through time. I want to see it go past 0120Z. Nope, still hasn't refreshed. I'm going to give it another 5 minutes, guys. It's approaching the 2-hour mark, and then I got to jump off. I do apologize. I wish I could stay on with you guys. I really want to. Is it a Cat 3 now? That's good. That means that it's starting to weaken down. At least it should continue to weaken down. We're going to give it a little more time, and I'm probably going to get off at 10 p.m. sharp. Yeah, Supernova 22. Yeah, definitely. West side is being dried out. West side is barely holding on. It's all east and to the north. In fact, with that eye wall or the eye itself moving a little further to the west and being relocated and expanded the way that it is, it's made that corridor of thunderstorm activity much smaller, more localized. So that's also a good thing. Looking forward to your next updates. Bye. Margaret, have a great night. For those of you tuning in, British, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, you're honestly still in monitor or caution mode. It got downgraded to a Cat 2 earlier today, but then it got upgraded back to Cat 3. Oh, wow. So it's bouncing in and out of that intensity. But Margaret Diaz, have a good night. Thanks. Stay safe, everybody. Sherry Proverbs, yes, please, everybody out there, take care, take heed. Make sure that you are sheltered in place. Don't go moving around. For the next 12, 15 hours, please don't move around. Do not. Just stay put. Just stay put and stay safe. That's going to be your best bet. Stay indoors. Stay away from windows. Stay away. If you are in a flood-prone area, please, if you're inside, try to do whatever you can to get things off the ground, elevate sensitive material, get electronics out of harm's way, make sure that you stay in place, and monitor for any kind of leveling up of the waters in your local area, especially if you're on a beach or if you're near a beach. That guy might have put you down and you got back up and you deserve 10K. You're the best weatherman I've ever seen. Daniel, thank you so much for that, guys. Like, I'm going to try not to get emotional right now. I'm doing my best. I really am. Just sent a video on IG of the sheet lightning at the moment. I'm going to check that here in a second. Thanks for the information. Blessed night to you. Janelia, likewise. Definitely right back to you. Everybody out there tuning in. We still have over 300 viewers in here. We got to watch closely. I'm going to try to refresh one more time. Come on. It's almost 10 o'clock. We're approaching the 2-hour mark on this live stream. This is the longest one we've ever done. Longest one we've ever done on the channel. I'm so glad we have so many people tuning in, watching this thing up close. This is what it's all about. Stay Still no update. Why is there no update? There has to be one at 10 o'clock sharp. In 2 more minutes, there has to be one more. I want to see one more. I want to start seeing it move north, or I want to start seeing at least more of a weakening trend before I cut this live stream. Because honestly, looking at that last loop right there, I can't pause it, but looking at the very back end of that loop, it doesn't have a very impressive eye wall with it. Earlier it did. You can see those stronger reflectivity values right around the center there. But then as that eye wall collapsed and caved in on itself, you can see the weaker reflectivities right through there. You can almost draw a little eye right there. There you go. That's where our eye currently is. All right, 1 more minute, and I'm going to refresh. Brooke, good night. You're very welcome. Very, very welcome to everybody in here. Me, I'm in the United States. I'm here in Central Florida. So we've been dodging bullets outside of Adalia earlier this year. Expecting some decent rain in Barbados based on radar. Temps are dropping, so probably rain incoming. Yes, good call. Dominica and North will have a problem. They will, definitely. Good night. Thanks for the info. Very informative. Sherry, you're very welcome. You have a wonderful evening. Would Trinidad and Tobago be impacted by feeder bands? Yes, it's definitely likely down there. Definitely very likely. You'll at least see some thunderstorm activity coming off of South America headed north as that system propagates to the north. All that residual energy is just going to be funneled in back behind it like a tail or like an appendage, like an octopus almost. You have the tentacles of feeder bands back behind it like so. Coming up. Good night from DeLand, Florida, local. There we go. Have a good night. This is Daniel signing out. Good night, Daniel. I salute you. Lightning and rough seas in Grenada. I paused there. You guys heard that pause. Grenada. I got to remember that. All right, I'm refreshing again. Come on, radar site. Let's update. It's 10 p.m. on the dot. Let's go to 2Z now. 2 Zulu. I'm in Northport, Florida. Oh, there we go. Another local. St. Lucia is overcast, but no rain. I can't believe I survived this. Along with, yeah, and you're going to keep surviving, buddy. You're definitely going to. Don't you start talking down or manifesting any negative energy on us right now. Let's see. Come on. Refresh. Nope, it still has not refreshed. What is this, an hourly radar? There has to be another radar out there that we can use. Hold up. Let's see if we can pull something else up. Barbados radar. What the heck? Why does this radar look so much worse than the other one we were just looking at? I don't know if I trust that one. Oh, there it goes. Okay, here we go. Barbados weather. That's more like it. All right, here we go. So yeah, not a very structured eye wall. Not a very structured eye wall at all. This is actually a really good website. Look at this. We just stumbled upon this. Okay, so very interesting. I don't know what model this is, but this is a model right here, guys. This is a simulated reflectivity model, and this actually has the center passing right over top Dominica. If you guys see this on the left-hand side of the screen, we just discovered this. I don't know the reliability of this model. I've never seen it before, but whatever this is based on 12 Zulu data. It doesn't have BMS Swan model. A BMS Swan model is what it said. It's the Barbados Meteorological Service. So the BMS model right here has the center tracking west over Dominica. So we definitely have to keep an eye out, because if it does do that, that's going to change impacts for a lot of people. I don't know what the reliability is. I don't know how well or reputable this model is. I'm just discovering this right now. This does have the center moving more westward, though, so that's very interesting. I'll try to refresh on this website one more time. Maybe there is an intermediate advisory on Hurricane Tammy now as well. Let's see if we got an update on here. Nope. No updates. No updates. Close. Let's see if we have an update on here now. This one looks more messy. Everyone, please be safe as possible. Yes, I agree. Moving west. There we go. So we got another update. That eye is not looking too good. It's not looking too good. It looks like it's falling apart. So this storm might not be able to hold on to a strengthening pattern. So we're here. We're moving, tracking it with my pen. We're moving. It's still moving west. And honestly, if this thing is falling apart, if it's weakening, we could see it track more to the west. It's still not moving north. So honestly, I stand in what I've been saying. If you're in Martinique, north into Dominica, into Guadeloupe, if you are in St. Kitts and Nevis, Saint Martin, Saint Martin, I got it that time. Antigua and Barbuda, anywhere further to the north of where you guys are in Martinique and on. Now, I'm just going to rope everybody in. Martinique and up, you need to be watching this. You need to watch closely. But yeah, I agree. Supernova, that eye wall is definitely getting that dry air up in there for sure. It's not looking very healthy at all. It's barely holding on to symmetry, which is a good thing. This thing might not be strengthening after all. We might be seeing some good news on here. Well, good news in the instance of the intensity, bad news because it just continues to propagate off to the west. At this point in time, getting ready to cross this longitude line right in here, we would need to see it make a sudden beeline to the north like this at the last second to hold on to the current forecast track. So if it does not start turning within the next hour or two, everybody there from Martinique and further to the north, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, and all the way up, the rest of the Leeward Islands, you got to be watching closely because it's getting very close. And the further to the west this tracks, the more of you Windward Island nations are going to see a lot more of that moisture getting pulled up. You can see on the southern portion of this radar all that inflow, all that general area I'm drawing in right now. I'll go ahead and just go ham with my pen. All this area is going to be inflow. All this area is going to see that backside moisture pulling in to this vortex. All of it. Barbados, getting into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, further to the south, Trinidad and Tobago. I know you guys have been asking. All that area underneath those pink little arrows are definitely going to see all that moisture convergence coming in like so. So you guys are definitely going to be under the gun for some feeder banding. That eye wall, that eye is falling apart. You almost can't even see it anymore. It's not a closed center, so that's a good sign. Is there any wind shear near Tammy? I don't think there's any wind shear. It's all that dry air that we were looking at on water vapor imagery. I think I still have water vapor up. Let's go down to low-level water vapor. Yeah, there's still a lot of dry air out ahead of it. There's dry air moving in. You can see all these low-level water vapor is not going to be a great indicator, but you can see right in through here all these orange colors, and then there's orange right out in front of it as well in the Eastern Caribbean. That's all dry air getting funneled in to the north and the west side of this storm. Look at all this dry air. Good Lord. Blanket. It almost looks like a blazing area of dry air. Then you go up to the mid-level water vapor, you can still see it out there. So there is some invasive dry air trying to do a number on this storm, and it looks like it's winning the war right now. So we had an update. It's still tracking to the west, but that internal structure, that core is not looking too healthy, which could be a good thing. Wherever this thing continues to move, pronounced Antigua. Yep, I got it right this time. Hopefully we have an update at 10:40. I'm probably not going to be on at that time. Honestly, I need to be getting off here any moment now. And I do say I'm very sorry that I can't hang with you guys. But yeah, tracking it off. It looks like it's still moving west-northwest. No matter what anybody tries to say, we started here. We'll go ahead and plot it this time. Then it's here. It's there. Tracking it. It's there. Had a little bit of a jog to the north. It's there. And now we're here. So you can see a general trend. It's trying to lift, but it's not lifting fast enough. We're going through here, drawing the lines. That's the direction it's moving right now. And like I said, now that we're passing this longitude line right in through here, it's going to need to suddenly bolt north for that forecast track to stay true. I was saying earlier it might shift close to Leeward Island coastline. Yes, I agree. We had a 4.0 quake. And what the? Now you got earthquakes going on down there? What is happening? All right, guys. My throat is definitely at its wit's end. I'm going to go ahead and start ending the live stream. I know I feel so bad for saying that because we have 358 people watching right now. But please, 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 definitely have a radar close, have some sort of a digital device that you can pull up satellite or radar and watch for the next 6 to 12 hours. We're definitely past zero barrier for areas in Martinique and Dominica. Within the next 2 to 4 hours, you're going to have the worst conditions on your doorstep. Further to the north, after midnight, closer to 2, 3 a.m., as you get closer to Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, St. Martin, you're definitely going to start seeing things go downhill. Ethan, where is your comment? I'm trying to brief everybody right now, buddy. Where is your comment? I missed it. Where is it? You know, you are currently the only live stream on Tammy. How am I the only one? We're in the middle of a landfall. Prayers and safety for people. Good night from Tampa. Thank you, Weather Sun and Nazara. Stay on the men, sir. No negative. Yep, I agree. Thank you, Kevin. Have a great evening, sir. Please, everyone, be safe out there. Marcus, I echo your sentiments. Everyone, please be safe as possible. Tia, Michelle, my tutor right there, I definitely commend you for the help that you've given me on this live stream. Everybody out there needs to be sheltered in place, away from any loose objects, away from any harmful objects. Just stay inside. Just stay inside. What is the predicted storm surge? I believe storm surge is forecast between 2 to 4 feet in some areas. Higher swells off the coast, but that's really not going to play too much of a role. Good night. I'm in Antigua, and it's pretty calm right now. Yes, Antigua still has a few hours before it rolls in. Ethan's life. No, thank you for pointing that out. That makes me feel good. But everybody, I'm going to go ahead. Will it be closer to Puerto Rico? Toby, if we wake up and this thing is still on a west-northwest, northwest path, yes, it could get a little closer to Puerto Rico. But, again, look at the storm structure. We have so much of it off to its east, even more so at the very tail end of the loop. You can see actually at the very back end where that last X is, right in through here, I believe it was. The entire storm is almost sheared off to its east at this point. So it would have to take a very substantial jog to the west to get into your area to play a very sensible role in the weather impacts. Antigua around 2 a.m., Peter Paul. 2 a.m. I'm in Dominica. It's starting to get very windy. I agree. That makes sense. It's right outside at this point. It's definitely right outside, getting closer. You're probably getting into the outside of the tropical storm force winds. Let's go to windy.com. Let's go ahead and adjust. Yep, we're definitely starting to see it. What the heck? No, this can't be right. This shows it to the north. This shows it well to the north. Because here's Guadeloupe. Here's Dominica. Martinique. This shows it well to the north. What the heck? Why is windy showing it going to the north when the radar has it moving west? But nonetheless, Martinique and Dominica, you're right outside the threshold of tropical storm winds. Everybody who's out there should probably try to stay awake. At least until the worst is in your area so you can get a feel for what it is going to happen. I would definitely stay awake. It's going to be rough. It's definitely going to be rough. We've all been there before. This isn't your first rodeo out there. I would highly encourage, if you can, stay awake. If you have family in your house, if you have relatives near your house, in the neighbors, at least try to set up somebody who can stand by and kind of just monitor the situation. I really need to get some more water. Try to have somebody standing by who can monitor the situation as this unfolds, especially since we're in a very volatile situation right now to where this thing has not moved north. We can definitely see different impacts in different areas. We've seen some positive trends in that eye and eye wall structuring. It looks a little bit weaker on radar right now. We just discovered this random weather model that actually does put it right through Dominica. So that, looking at radar right now, this may be a new model that we might want to start. As a matter of fact, I'm going to favorite this website. I'm going to favorite this website so I can go back to it every now and again. Visible satellite has gone dark. Here's radar once again. Let me refresh the page. Yeah, this storm is not looking too good. So definitely, if you guys are watching and you can see right now, fixate on this image right here that I'm circling. And you can see the eye is here. The entire eastern half of the storm is where we're loaded up. So that eye is going to have to pass way to the west for you guys to be underneath the greatest onslaught of the strongest stuff. You're most welcome, and thank you for your time. You're very welcome to you, Michelle. Very, very welcome. It will definitely start to move up when reaching the Martinique area. Hopefully. I hope it starts to move north. We're waiting on it. We're definitely waiting on it. But all right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. It's getting time. It's time, and I know that the viewer count is only going up. I know the view count is only going up. I'm so sorry I have to bail out on you guys. But the faster I can get off of here and get ready for bed, the sooner I can be up in the morning, not only for a workout, but to get right back to you guys and start talking about this. If I can get in and quick enough in and out of the gym and all that in the morning and I don't have much going on, I can maybe jump on a live stream early and start talking immediately about, I want to say 5 a.m., 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning is usually when I'm awake to go hit the weights. So we'll definitely see if I can jump back on there and start talking to you guys around 6 a.m., especially now that I know that the Lesser Antilles are the same time zone as us right now. You're not an hour ahead. That's critical to know. I'll be up all night tracking it. Good idea, Daniel. It will definitely start to move up. Will it affect St. Lucia? Yes, it's definitely going to affect St. Lucia. Once this system gets to your north, whether it moves west or north and west, that backside is where you're going to see a lot of the thunderstorms really kick up and ramp up as it gets pulled into the southern circulation center. I'm very thankful for this live, Nazario. God bless you, Janelia. God bless you right back. Blessings to everybody in here. What are the websites I can go on for live weather data? So I discovered this one right here. Very good resource. It's literally barbadosweather.org. I'm going to go ahead and type these two things in the chat for you guys. barbadosweather.org. There's one. That's the one I'm using right here. It's got a little bit of model data and whatnot on there for all the islands. Seems kind of legit. I like what I'm seeing, and this model actually shows this thing moving west before finally moving northwest right over Dominica, it looks like. So we're going to have to see how this unfolds. If this thing initializes very well, I'm going to start coming back to this a little more often. And then for this website right here, I'm going to copy and paste it in the chat as well. This is brought to us by Brian McNulty. This is a GIF that he puts together and populates radar data in there as well. Will Trinidad get any rain? Yes, it's definitely likely. You guys are going to see some wraparound moisture from this thing as it pulls to the north and continues west and northwest. Looks like a TS on radar. Honestly, almost. Yeah, it's losing a lot of that like hurricane-style structuring. There's a closed eye right there in the loop, and then it falls apart. We lose that closed eye wall. Then we start getting a little bit more of an eye wall forming up, but now it's completely wide open. It is completely wide open. Let's see, my house shaken. I hope that's not the earthquake or aftershocks that Tia was mentioning earlier. I'll let you know later tonight if it starts to take that turn or not. Yes, please. Thank you very much for your information. Have a great night's sleep. Please stay safe and have a great night's sleep. Liz, thank you very much for that. Yeah, guys, I really hate to say it. It's been a 2-hour plus live stream. Very grateful to have been on here with you guys as long as I have. I'm going to stand firm in what I said. From Martinique all the way up through the rest of the Leeward Islands, you got to keep a close eye on this. I dropped in 2 different websites that hopefully you guys can access. Hopefully you guys can access and have that pulled up to monitor it hour by hour, update by update, especially in my stead and everybody else who's not able to report at this time of night. Let's go ahead and refresh again. How close are we? You said it's starting to move north. Maybe that's a good sign. Let me go ahead. Let's track this through. Watch it closely. Did we get another radar update already? Maybe we did. Let's see. So there it goes. On here, it doesn't look like it's moving north. Maybe it is slowly starting to make that jog to the north. Hopefully it is. Either way, guys, the main takeaway is we would need this storm to move very well off to the west to get you in the east side, the worst of it. So we would need to continue to transition west for quite some time to get into the worst of this storm. So right now we're still looking okay. The dry air is doing its work. We have a huge exposed core of the internal structure of this system that's completely washed out of any kind of thunderstorm activity. So it's the south and east side we have to watch out for closely. How far is it from St. Lucia? It's still pretty far away. It's still, I would say, maybe like 50 to 75 miles to your northeast, your northeast. Oh, my cat Willow's at the door. I was wondering what that sound is. I'll let you know later tonight if it starts to take that turn. Yes, please. Did it just jog south? No, it's the eye breaking up. The eye is expanding. So maybe it is trying to move north, but the fact that that eye keeps breaking apart and expanding, it's going to make it look like it's just kind of moving in its own direction. But all right, yeah, guys, please keep me posted. I dropped my Instagram in the chat earlier, WXCenter_Nazario. If you have footage, pictures that you'd like to send me, if you'd want to collaborate on there when I get up in the morning, please feel free to drop me a line. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat one more time. Instagram is going to be one of your best bets to find me and connect with me. I do check my comments. I do check all of my videos on a recurring basis. So even if you drop me a comment, I'll definitely see it and get back to you at my earliest convenience. I'm usually up between 4 or 5 a.m. It is going to be Saturday, and I'm going to bed a little later tonight, so I might be up a little bit later, but I promise, with all the excitement and things going on in my head, I'll probably still wake up around the usual time, get in the gym, and start responding to comments and questions. So please keep in touch. Do what you can. But I got to go ahead and cut the live stream, guys. I do apologize. If I didn't have such a long day, I would stay up, and I would definitely keep providing you with this live coverage. For what it's worth, though, I hope that you guys got something out of this. This has been a 2-hour and 20-minute live stream. We definitely went play-by-play, which was my intention, which is great. It's looking ragged on radar, so we might have some positive news coming out of this within the next few hours. I don't know if it's going to weaken. We'll have to see what Hurricane Center and the reserve aircraft finds in there, but on radar, it looks like it's falling apart. On satellite, it didn't look too healthy. So what time are you going to be back? I don't know about the live stream specifically. We'll see what the morning looks like for me, but I'll definitely continue to update you guys and answer questions in the comments, or if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, happy to help out. I promise you that. Will St. Eustatius get strong winds? It's kind of looking like that. You guys are well up to the north, if I'm not mistaken, right? Kind of like in the same area as Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts, and Nevis, yeah? Brenda? In that general area, you guys are definitely looking at the likelihood of tropical storm conditions, if not very low-end hurricane conditions, if this system tracks further to the west. If it can stay to your east or almost even directly overhead, because this is an east side loaded storm, you might dodge the strongest core of the biggest wind speeds, or the greatest wind speeds. Barbados is under tropical storm watch. The rest are hurricane watches and warnings, still underfloor warning. I'm wondering why you... Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense that you have a tropical storm watch, because the storm itself is to your north, but you could definitely see tropical storm level gusts in these bands as they move through. It looks like that feeder band can't quite get as organized just yet, but as that storm continues to propagate to the north and northwest of Barbados, you're definitely going to start seeing those rain chances pick up, especially as we go between, I would assume, between 2 and 6 a.m., right as the sun's coming up. The hardest rainfall will be coming down. But all right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. If I don't cut it now, I'm going to be on here all night, and I can already feel my eyes starting to bug out. I do appreciate you all for tuning in. I really hope that this was helpful in any way, shape, or form. Please keep those radar services or the websites that I put in the chat close to you, and I will definitely be in touch first thing in the morning. You can guarantee that. We'll also have a full Weather Center segment tomorrow. I'll try to orchestrate a live stream if I can. I'm going to do my best. I'll definitely do my best for you guys out there. But this is it. We're bearing down. But the thing is, even though it's right on top of us, it means it's almost over. The buildup is just about over, and we're almost done. I know it sounds weird for me to say that, but this is it. This is basically the end game at this point. How far is it from St. Kitts? It's still a ways away. You still have a few hours to kind of brace yourselves. Watching from Antigua, your weather update is the best. Thanks for the update, Jocelyn. You're very, very welcome. God bless you, Nazario. Fabulous live stream. Hydrate. Carmen's signing out. Carmen, I salute you, madam. Thank you so much for always tuning in and for all your positive energy. Everybody else, definitely stay safe. Many, many blessings to everybody out there. Leona, it's definitely still a ways away from St. Kitts. You definitely have a few hours. By about between midnight and 2 a.m. is when it's going to start bearing down on that area. Maybe even a little later than that because of how slow it's moving. ASMR, Tammy, really take his time. Angelique, I get that. Yeah, it's really good ASMR to fall asleep with. If anything, being where you are right now, I'd honestly take advantage. If you guys are in Guadeloupe or further to the north in Antigua, Barbuda, and those further Leeward Islands to the north, if you can, close your eyes now. Get some rest. Try to jump off this live stream and close your eyes, kind of de-stress for right now because you still have a little bit. You can get a power nap in, hydrate, get some food, and just kind of wait. But the worst is still down to your south. We still have a little bit of time before the core gets up into that neck of the woods. Still a few hours away. Definitely still a few hours away, that's for certain. Rye Riddits. But alrighty, folks. I'm seeing the concurrent viewers falling now. That's a good sign. I mean, not a good sign, but like I'm definitely going to start taking advantage and dropping out of the chat. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for watching this evening, and I really, really hope and pray that you guys are going to be safe. This thing's going to be over before we know it. It's the buildup. It's just like with a theme park ride. The line and the wait getting on the ride is always the worst, but when you're in the midst of the ride, it's all downhill from there, and then before you know it, it's over. So we're getting ready. We're almost to the top of the line, and we're going to jump on this roller coaster ride here within the next couple of hours, and then, yeah, then it's all uphill from there. So stay tuned for more. I'll definitely be in touch with all you guys first thing in the morning, and I'll have a full video out once again tomorrow afternoon to cover everything and see what's what. Repeat for St. Kitts and Nevis. Right around 2 o'clock is when things are going to start going downhill, and from beyond that point, you're going to start seeing the worst of it. St. Kitts, Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, all the islands up in that general area. Everybody to the north from Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is like your threshold. Guadeloupe and everybody to the north of that area, you have a few hours. You definitely have a few hours. So rest and recoup and just stay prepared. Thanks. Great job. Sitcom TV, you're very welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, definitely cutting it this time. I will be back in touch with you tomorrow. I can promise you that, okay? Everybody stay safe out there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all again very soon, okay? This is Weather Center. Oh, wait. Before, I almost butchered my outro. If you have any other questions, comments, or Instagram, please feel free to leave them. I always get back to you guys, okay? Now, officially, this is Weather Center Nazario, signing out.